36 days after we crowned Brenton Hobson as the GSRC Racer Champions victor again, the summer break has come and gone. Christmas and New Year are out the rearview mirror, and in the far too distant past, as far as I'm concerned, the summer break has come and gone in the blink of an eye. And yes, we're lining up, raring and ready to go, racing once more, ladies and gentlemen. And we start an historic 20th season on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club on home turf, as a matter of speaking, down there in Kelly Country, in Benalla, in northeastern Victoria, at the track that one famous Queenslander aptly referred to as the Clothesline back in the day. Yes, it's Winton Motor Raceway first up for the entree on a Monday night. Good evening, everybody. Great to be back with you on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Zach Caven and Adam Lavis with you for Monday Night Motorsport in Term 1 of 2025. The opening night of the opening term of 4 this calendar year. And Monday night will be known as GT night for waste options this season. We're going somewhat back to the past, back to the future, with GT4 serving as the entree to GT3. Of course, GT4 so magnificently held our attention and captivated our imagination from first until last in the entree slot to the Porsche Cup in Term 4. Tonight, they lead off the brand new season of GSRC competition. Adam Lavis, good evening to you. Welcome. Hard to believe that the summer break has come and gone. It feels as though it went far too fast, and I wouldn't have minded if it was an extra couple of weeks, but at the same time, it is nice to be back with you.
It is definitely good to be back, but yeah, it does go fast when you realise like you've only got so many days to go and you've got to get everything sorted out for tonight. So as usual, brand new season, so unfortunately my little pet peeve of trying to get all the numbers to the same colour of the cars won't be accurate tonight because everyone's got brand new liveries. And there's over 30-40 cars on the grid, so I didn't have time. But we should have a good night of racing and back to the traditional GT night.
Now, normally, off the very top, we would run you through the championship calendar and the championship points, etc. and so forth. But there's a couple of big things that we need to tick off the list here. One of which is the people that are scrolling across the bottom of your screen there, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome aboard Trophy AI as a sponsor of the platforms of the Gentleman's Sim Racing Club, joining some of our existing mainstay long-time supporters as we start this historic 6th year and 20th season on the platforms of the club. Sprite Insider, Waste Options, Orbic Australia, Bowen's the Builder's Choice, JJZ Constructions, merch.tgsrci.com, and Flash Graphics. What's more important as well, Joe Baldwin, El Presidente, just saying that it's a bit too hot in WA at present. I'll guarantee it's not exactly cold here in Queensland either, mate, but nice to have you tuning in as per usual. And we look forward to catching up with you later in the week. Joe will be at the helm of Friday nights once more. Trophy AI, Adam Lavis, they joined the fold. It's great to have them here, but even more so because there's going to be a lot of eyes on the category that they are sponsoring this term.
Yeah, they'll be on board with the V8 Supercars on Wednesday night as the category sponsor. Oh, yeah.
There is the offering, actually, ladies and gentlemen. I've just lost Adam Lavis there momentarily.
Sorry, mate. Your button disconnected. But yeah, so yeah, we got the supercars and Trophy AI guys, and we'll be looking at having a couple of membership giveaways for their stuff, and there'll be some. Hopefully, we're looking at getting an affiliate link like we had with M-Wave, with a couple extra perks possibly for our members. So news to come once we get that locked in and filed away. But good to have them on board.
An all new look to Tuesday night, the BMW M Sport Cup will lead you off on a Tuesday night. That's non-broadcast, and so too the Formula One Retro GSRC Championship as well. That's at Alton Park first up tomorrow night. You can read the race formats and information there and where they're heading to. Wednesday night, the only change, there's no change entree and main course, but we go from Gen 2 to Gen 3 supercars. So that is a big change there. There was a lot of hype about it pre-Christmas. We finally get the turn wheels in anger on the platforms of the GSRC, at least in supercar circles. Super Formula Light. Main course of Thursday Night Motorsport at one point last season goes to the entree slot after being the main course on a Tuesday night for the last couple of terms of 2024. teaming up with the Porsche Cup, and we've got a new naming rights sponsor on board for the Porsche Cup. Bowen's the builder's choice backing the Porsche Cup this season. Sprite Insider still backing a couple of categories, of course, not least Super Formula Light, but also, as we turn the page, Friday Night Motorsport as well. Sprite Insider Hypercars, Le Mans style from, and very nicely timed as well, ladies and gentlemen, the Daytona International Speedway road course on Friday night. Nick Fodiatis, Joe Baldwin and I with you for that one. Mountain Men, of course, stays where it is. And then next week, we've got an all-Oriental night on the platforms of the GSRC for our first sprint outing of GT3 for this season as well. Qualifying is done and dusted at Winton. So just before we go through the grid, here is the calendar that awaits us for GT4. The big change here, term on term, ladies and gentlemen, is that we're just going to have one-off sprint races. 30 minutes a pop, with the exception of the finale at Phillip Island being 45. So tonight it's Winton, then on Okayama, Alton Park, Snetterton, the Red Bull Ring Road, Atlanta, the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, the Grand Prix of Belle Isle in Detroit, Michigan, the south configuration of VIR, Virginia International, and Phillip Island to finish this off. So we start and finish in Victoria, and we're very excited about that. The other big change, term on term, Adam Lavis, and we're going to cover this off as we go tonight, compulsory pit stops.
Yeah, just basically trying to make it so that our intended number of pit stops is now the number of pit stops. So we'll see how we go there with a couple of guys not able to, because like the fuel saving will still be a play, but just not to the extent of going real slow to get to the end.
Now, let's have a look at the grid here as they line up. 41 cars lining up on this 3 kilometre circuit at Winton, 12 turns. Of course, clockwise the direction. And Sam Muir picking up where he left off as the pole sitter here. Seth Brown alongside him. There will be some new names, both to you and us as well, ladies and gentlemen, as we go tonight. That's one of the great joys of the opening night of any term, least of all the first one of the calendar year. Seth Brown alongside Sam Muir on row 1. That usual eclectic mix of Porsches and Mercedes dominating the top 10, the exception being Aidan Cale, alongside Marcus Watson on the second row there in the Aston Martin. Jordan Malcolm and Sam Chapman, of course, agonisingly short of the title last season. Chapo from the outside of row 3. Nick Fodiatis, have a look at him go inside of row 4 alongside Russ Green. Dale Sharp and Connor Nixon make up the top 10. Alex Court and Brett Bradbury, then Ash Dodson and Daniel Correa, Scott Hasler, and also Jacob Hughes from the next 3 rows. Row 9 is Mitch Wood and Eduardo Zamora. Row 10 is Gary Cousins and Paul Wood, the 2 teammates. In fact, there's a real Aussie Racers vibe there outside the top 20. You've got Michael Hammond and David Christensen sharing row 11. Row 12 is Craig Bond and Ash Stacey. Row 13 is Martin Pedersen there alongside. I've just lost Adam Lavis's grid there. It's still on the first 5 rows, but that's okay. We'll continue on here as best we can. Timing's mucking it up a little bit for me, ladies and gentlemen. And SGK's freezing, so I can't actually finish running through the grid, unfortunately, at this point. But nevertheless, we'll cover off the rest of them as we go there, ladies and gentlemen. We are set to go for the first time this term. There are 2 cars starting from the pit lane, namely Andrew Franklin and Adam St. John, and also Isaac Curtis, I think, is a non-starter. But nevertheless, at long last, the new calendar year of GSRC competition is underway, ladies and gentlemen. Waste Options GT4 from Winton Motor Raceway. Beautiful start as they fan out across the main straight on the run down towards turn 1. You've got to be careful at turn 1. There's already trouble. Russ Green pointing the wrong way. It is a trip-up point, particularly in a field this big. It is tight. It is narrow. Overtaking opportunities are few and far between. And already trouble for Russ Green. Extraordinary scenes here in the early stages at Winton. Marcus Watson has jumped up off the start and picked both Sam Muir and Seth Brown to lead this thing early. Aidan Cale has slotted back into 4th spot. Chapo's up to 5th. Jordan Malcolm to 6th and Connor Nixon to 7th. Nick Fodiatis slips to 8th. Dale Sharp and Brett Bradbury make up the top 10. Will be interesting to see how they go about this. Let's have a look at lap times as well when they come around to give you an indication as to where we're going on the old Zaculator as we start to fill up your bingo card early on the opening night of the new year. Great to have you along, ladies and gentlemen. Great to see so many of you already interacting via our social threads, Facebook, Twitch and YouTube, commenting along as you join in for the fun of the fair and come along for the ride with us the first time in 2025. Watson, Muir, Brown, Kale, Chapman and Malcolm, the top 6 after the opening lap. 129.497. So that's 6 in 9, 18 and 27. We're looking at 20 laps tonight, ladies and gentlemen. No change. 20 laps for a 30-minute journey here. Remember, we did have mix of sprint racing and one-off races in the last campaign. That's out the window. Just single races for this term. There will be 4 sprint rounds in GT3, as has been standard procedure in recent terms. So we're looking forward to that. Good evening to our viewers joining us. Whoa! Big moment. Take slapper. That was back in the battle for 15th and 16th. Jacob Hughes, I think it was. Ooh. Jeez. Did well to hold on to it, I think. Nevertheless, Marcus Watson, Sam Muir, Seth Brown remain the top 3 at the moment. As I say, I was just in the middle of reading the comment there. Good evening to our, or good morning, I should say, to our audience that are tuning in from far-flung parts of the globe, including over there in the United States. We've got 4 trips back-to-back, virtually, of course, to the United States in this championship alone, and a couple more in GT3 as well. Main straight, 2 laps gone. Fastest lap of the race now belongs to the Aston Martin of Aiden Kale. Going to be interesting to see here, Adam Lavis. I'm going to scroll through the field. Porsche, Mercedes, Aston Martin. There's sprinkling of BMWs as well, but no McLarens.
Yeah, McLaren's one of those ones that it's got to be one of those cars that's got to suit your driving style. Because of the way it sets up, you've got to basically run it with almost no wing to get anywhere. And so you've got to be able to hold on and keep it under you. So it's one of those cars that suits a certain style of driving.
Indeed it does. Quickly off the top tonight as well, ladies and gentlemen, want to say a big g'day and thank you very much to the crew from Logitech and Dan Hall. Off goes Kurt Nommensen as well, but that wasn't who went off on your picture there. Kurt Nommensen's lighting up off track on my screen. It was Jacob Hughes once more, so already some trouble with some loose rear ends on a Monday night. We talk about first night of the term as well, Adam Lavis, synonymous with blowing out the cobwebs, and there'll be a few people a little bit rusty after summer.
Indeed, but I'm sure there'll be a few guys that have dabbled. There'll be a few guys who haven't touched the sim since last season, but there'll be other guys who would have just done the 24-hour Daytona last night. So there'll be a big mix of people getting back into it, and people who have already got got the cobwebs blown out over the last couple of weeks.
Big night of sport as well. First T20 in the Women's Ashes being played at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Of course, round 4 action at Melbourne Park in the Australian Open Tennis Championship as well, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go around the grounds as soon as we get a chance to catch our breath here. 12th place at the moment is Alex Court, one of the real improvements in one of the good stories to come out of last term, of course. Came on leaps and bounds throughout the course of the 10 weeks of GT4. Good to see him back out there having another crack this term. I don't want to put the mocker on him. He's right on the tail of our colleague and mate Daniel Correa-Sarr at the moment in the battle for 11th. And under pressure from Scott Hazler and also Ash Dodson as well. Daniel, the odd one out there running the Aston, whereas the other 3 are all in Mercs. 5 and a quarter minutes gone. 24 and 3/4 to go. It'll be interesting to see how these guys play it strategically. Adam Lavis would have a bit more of an intel, no doubt, as to when or whereabouts we'd enter the fuel window here. And then that'll give us an opportunity to back calculate how late some of these guys might be able to run it as well. Alex Court down the inside of Daniel Correa-Sarr. Nice move into turn 11. Set that up beautifully on the exit of turn 10. There's a little bit of argy-bargy going on a little bit further back there. And a squeeze job down the inside as well from Hazler to try and get by Correa-Sarr. Got it done. Forcefully, and you've got to do that around Winton, don't you, Adam Lavis? I'm just having a look at the numbers here as well. 125.03 that time around for Kale. So if they keep that up, there's every chance we get a 21st lap, depending upon the time of the pit transit. Let's have a look at some replays. This was what happened to Russ Green at turn 1. He got some help. And then it was just a knock-on effect, really. They did well, actually, to avoid all of that for the most part. I think that might have been Bondi going to the grass to try and avoid a couple of the Aussie racer boys. Jake Jackson. Oh, I'm waiting for someone to collect the rumble strip. The speed hump on the exit of 2. Someone always clouts that and goes airborne. Kurt Nommensen. This is what happened to him on the exit of turn 4. The run up to 5. Oh, jeez. Wrong place, wrong time for some of these blokes, isn't it? Because when you're that bunched up, if somebody ends up in an isolated incident, you very quickly become an innocent bystander. Jacob Hughes, that was the first of his 2. Going up into the section of the circuit affectionately referred to as cleavage. And this was Ash Dodson.
It's the old Winton pit lane type
Going
pit lane.
to pit lane, yes. There's the first one, and there'll be plenty more. Back live. And we've got the 2 Aussie racer entries there, namely Michael Hunt and Gary Cousins. Hunt going through into position number 13. Next target for him, Daniel Correa-Sarr. I was in the middle before we got rudely interrupted by people going off the racetrack. Some of you will know because you've seen it on socials and whatever else. But the great people at Logitech, namely Dan Hall and his crew, have set me up with a little bit of broadcast equipment to get me through the new season. Some new brand spanking fresh material, a new mic stand so that I can actually stand up and call, and a new microphone as well. So a big thanks to those guys. It was a quid pro quo setup because the boys at the Logitech Invitational E-Series Supercars and GT, of course, who I'm working for on their GT3 compliment or offering this year, were very nice enough to set me up with all of that. So a big thanks to those guys, and I look forward to working with them in March when we go to Daytona.
I see Bondi's found a special on white paint this season.
Yes. In fact, there was a little bit of chatter. I jumped into their hello to Nick Wilcoxon as well, who we're watching at the moment in 28. I did jump into their Discord feed and booth a short time ago before we went on air here to have a chat to them, and there was a little bit of banter going around about maybe not applying the right paint scheme, so it'll be interesting to see how that transpired and what came of that. 9 minutes gone here, lap 7. Just have a look at the count as well. 1:25.03. So as I say, it could well be that we sneak in a 21st lap into this race, and I'm all for it. The more the better. It's been frantic so far. It's been intense. The field is now starting to fan out a little bit, which is good. Just having a look to see if anyone's taken the bait and gone to pit lane. Unfortunately, our good mate Ambo St John, the first retirement. Kurt Nommensen has got back out there. He was in on lap 3, so that's an 18-lap run. If he can make it stretch and make it work, good on him. If he can get to the checkered flag from there. I mean, he also runs the risk of maybe going a lap down. He's already that far down off the pace at the moment. But everyone else has got to stop just yet. So hopefully he'll be able to overcome that deficit to a point. Pete Matson's the last of those in the field that hasn't yet stopped. He's in 37th. We had 39 starters in total tonight. Ash Dodson, who you saw come into pit lane there. Andrew Franklin started from pit lane, so wipe that from the budget. He'll have an invoice to pay a little bit later on. And also, of course, Brett Bradbury. They have stopped thus far. So laps 3, 4 and 5. And into the pits now comes Mikey Hammond. So you would think that those guys would believe that they're in the fuel window and believe that they can get home. There's no point making you rod for your own back and compromising your strategy by pitting any earlier than you can, mathematically speaking, and getting home on the fuel tank amount.
Yeah, my guess would be that they feel like they're stuck in a bit of traffic, so they're trying to go reverse strat so you can see if they can happen to get some clear air at the tail of the field, and hope that the guys in front pit before they catch them.
But, oh, here we go. Gal Monfils has retired hurt at the Australian Open, so Benny Shelton's going through to the quarterfinals, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. So Gal Monfils has retired. That's a bit of breaking news coming in from Melbourne Park. To your point about strategy, I get it, and I like it, and I understand it. We've done this rodeo a few times over the years now to have an appreciation for it. But clear air is not something I would necessarily associate with this circuit, with this size field. Riding on board with Sam Muir, running second at the moment, half a second off Marcus Watson, and you can see lap traffic is already becoming a factor here. That'll be Pete Madsen they're ranging up on the back of. Kurt Robinson. So it's Kurt, and that's because he stopped on lap 3, and he's doing the right thing there in terms of the GSRC code of conduct and racing parlance. In terms of giving way to those guys so that they can make their way through. He might be able to get that lap back once these guys transit the lane, but if not, then, that's one less lap that he's got to worry about on his fuel counts. So we'll see how this goes for him. Sam Muir. Now, this is the other interesting element here. We know that Marcus Watson's no slouch. We know he's a good little peddler. It's great to see him back on the platforms of the GSRC, but Sam Muir has been for quite a while now, Adam, as you know, the benchmark in this series. Chapo was spitting chips last week when the CPS was announced because that ruins his fun with the fuel saving. So this now rewards drivers that A, can nail it on pit lane, but also be fast on the black stuff as well.
Yeah, so you get put all the elements together and come up with the best tasting cake of a race.
And for Sam Muir, we know that he will be looking at pit lane as an opportunity to potentially leapfrog Marcus Watson there, but very hard to find a way by when Watson's not doing anything wrong at this point. Braking hardware issue, good comeback. Oh no. See, Ambo, this is the thing, isn't it? Those mechanical gremlins, those tech issues at the sim world, those mechanical issues at the sim world, the tech equipment, always prevalent, no matter how much work's done, how much time you've spent on the rig or off it, in our case over the summer. There's always something that's going to bite you. Good to see you back on the grid anyway, mate, and hopefully it's not the last we see of that. Hopefully you'll be a regular throughout the course of the season.
So as we saw in that graphic before, Sam Muir here, he's the current champ, defending champ, and actually I just checked, last season was his 3 preats, so he got 3 in a row. So he's currently back-to-back champion. So he'll be with a big target on his back this season to try and stop him from getting the full calendar year champ.
He won it by 1 point. It was one of the closest fights we've ever seen. He won it by 1 point last term. It was tantalising. Compulsory viewing on a Thursday night. Having GT4 lead into GT3 makes Monday nights must-watch in Term 1 of 2025. And we're excited to be back. We're pumped. We hope you're enjoying it as much as we're enjoying bringing it to you, ladies and gentlemen. That's a great shot. The work that's been done by the bloke that's alongside me in the commentary box tonight, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of attention to detail with where the cameras are positioned around each of the circuits that we visit on our calendar, and there are 19 on Monday Night Motorsport this term, is testament to the dedication that Adam Lavis has to the task at hand, which is bringing you the best coverage possible each Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday nights. Very nicely done, my friend. 15 minutes gone. So half race distance, ladies and gentlemen. It's come and gone just like that. Marcus Watson, Sam Muir, Aidan Carl, Sam Chapman, and Jordan Malcolm, the top 5.
As we can see, some of the pitters are starting to filter into our top 30. So on the tree there, the last column, the L with a number, is what lap they've pitted on. So Brett Bradbury there, currently leading the pitters when he pitted on lap 5. So he's currently leading that people who have already done their stop.
I'm not going to lie, and I say this advisedly, and I don't mean to upset anybody when I say it, as Ash Stacey finds the grass in the middle of the cleavage there, but thank Christ I've got the SDK timing screen link up and open as well, because even though I've got a substantially sizable screen in front of me, those graphics are very small from my vantage point. Thankfully, everything's a little bit brighter, a little bit bolder, a little bit bigger, larger, if you like, on the second screen, the timing screen that I've got here in Central Commentary. So my advice to you at home is that if you can hook us up and watch us on a 65-inch television, do so, especially for those of you like me that are short-sighted and wear glasses 24/7, 365. Now, Marcus Watson still holds the lead here, but have a look at the train forming behind him. Sam Chapman's about to join in. Jordan Malcolm, Seth Brown, Connor Nixon there as well. Muir, the first in line to have a crack, and Aidan Cale there as well. It is Mercedes, Porsche, Aston Martin 1, 2, 3, Porsche 4, 5, and Mercedes 6, Porsche 7, 8, and Mercedes 9, 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4 Mercs, 5 Porsches, and an Aston in the top 10 at the moment. The best place to the BMWs currently, 35th in Bradley Mays, Rick Burton, Adam Richards. Those guys have already stopped though.
Yeah, so we've known for a while that the McLaren's always been a personal preference car, but it is disappointing that there was, as we found out last season, the new Beamer has some annoying flaws, and it's kind of turned us into a Porsche versus Merc championship with a few Astons scattered in there. So it's sort of almost a three-make race here. But you know, it's not too bad though, because let me see. There's as much as we only got the 2 or 3 manufacturers, they're all mixed together, so they're all fairly evenly matched. So currently we've got a Merc out in front and a whole gaggle of Porsches with an Aston in there, trying to topple him as they get down in the fuel load and the tyres start to get a little squishy.
And by the way, on the subject of manufacturers, a 10th manufacturer joins the fold in our GT3 series, also presented by Waste Options tonight, with the Acura, the upmarket relative of Honda, jumping into the grid. So we're very excited about the fact, the potential of having 10 manufacturers on the grid when we go racing tonight in a GT3 from Jerez, and that'll be a 60-minute race coming your way from 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time. Good afternoon to those of you on the western seaboard. Good evening to those of you in the east, and a very good morning to those of you tuning in the United States, and good evening to those of you in New Zealand as well. It's great to be back with you on the platforms of the GSRC. First up in 2025, we're right on board with Sam Muir now. How good did the updated graphics look, ladies and gentlemen, in the lead up to Australia Day? There's green and gold all over this screen at the moment, which is really, really good. Now, this is David Baz having a moment in the middle of the cleavage, or getting some help, one or the other, getting some help. And Michael Hammond gets a warning for avoidable contact as well on screen there with Alex Court. Back on board with Muir now. They're in pursuit of some more lapped traffic here as well, ladies and gentlemen, which is giving way, and rightly so. So, top 9 yet to stop. First of those 2 have stopped is Jordan Malcolm. So too Seth Brown, Brett Bradbury, Alex Court, Daniel Correa, Michael Hammond, Jake Jackson yet to stop.
So Jordan and Seth were in the leading group. Jordan's managed to eke out 5 seconds on Seth though, so that might be interesting. So, Jordan he's a self-admitted person who struggles with pit stops. So it'll be interesting to see where he comes out, and these guys eventually do the stops, whether he's actually nailed on the head tonight and got one in the bag, or whether he's continued form as he would normally do.
Indeed. And to Jess Sharp, and also to Veronica Dench, who said something similar earlier in the evening, thank you. It's nice to be back, and welcome back to you as well, and everybody else that's tuning in. I mean, it'd be pointless sitting here and talking to no one, so it's great that you guys are back on board, tuning in to enjoy all the thrills and spills of Turn 1 action on the platforms of the GSRC, remembering that we've got trucks and supercars rocking and rolling with Wednesday night hypercars, Le Mans hypercars on a Friday night, and we've got the best of both tin tops and open wheelers on Thursday night motorsport this term. Waste Options GT4, 2/3 race distance. Marcus Watson leads from Sam Muir, Aidan Cale, Sam Chapman, Connor Nixon, Nick Fodiatis, Dale Sharp, Scott Hazler, Gary Cousins. Now, I'll go through positional gains and losses once the field is cleansed, once the pit window has been gone, come and went. And to be fair, we can't be too far away from that, given that we are now in the final third of the race. As I say, we're on track for about 21 laps here, And Marcus Watson is the race leader, and he has been from the start.
So it just dawned on me too, is as Sam does finally pull the trigger. Tonight he's actually going to be, our CPS will be in effect, because Winton naturally is a less low fuel track, so this would have been one of those tracks where a lot of guys would have tried to push no stop this one. So yeah, so there'll be a fairly long window where some of these guys might be able to go another 2 or 3 laps where they have to pick going at full pelt.
And race control reserves the right to throw the book at anyone that disobeys the CPS window, because there's no actual way within iRacing to control that, is there?
There's no way to preset it in iRacing and for it to self-police itself. But we've told the guys that if a race controller can seize it and they can check it, then they'll be ping the 25-second penalty. And also racers themselves, who obviously know who they're racing and understand that if they're all of a sudden 20 cars up the road, then they can also report the person as well, and we'll have a look. And if they've done the wrong thing, they'll get a slap on knuckles.
So, Aidan Schultz is happy about the fact that there's some new names popping up on the totem pole, as are we, mate. The more the merrier. We love the fact that membership numbers continue to remain at a very solid number, even with the names going. There are more coming and joining the fun of the fair. Everybody's welcome here. It's good to see so many jumping on board for 2025. Marcus Watson to pit lane. Sam Chapman, surprise, surprise, continues on to lap 17. The end of 16 for you. Connor Nixon follows Chapo through. Marcus Watson to pit lane. Let's keep an eye on this in relation to Sam Muir. Nobody else. Muir the best placed of those two have stopped thus far. We're watching Aidan Cale in 9th place as well. He trails Muir at the moment and has Jordan Malcolm right on his tail. That was Michael Hammond.
He got your bump that you were talking about.
He did. And then smashed into the wall and crashed out and parked up. Exited stage left. Sam Chapman and Connor Nixon, the only two yet to stop. Everybody else made their way to pit lane that time around, the end of lap 16. Nick Fodiatis, Dale Sharp, Scott Hazler, and also Gary Cousins. Here we go, close. Watson and Muir. It's close. It's Watson's by a nose. Now, can Muir find a way up and under? No. Watson's there and ready for the challenge. He ran it wide on the exit of 4, though. It gives Muir a small sniff. To 5. To cleavage they go. Through 6. It's a 3-horse race at the front. It's Watson, Muir and Cale. They're 23 seconds down the road from Chapman and Nixon. We expect those two will be on pit road either this time by or next. Aidan Schultz, unfortunately, the PC's gone to computer heaven. No, it's never ideal. You're right. Chapman and Nixon to pit road right now. Schultzy, all the best with the computer shopping, mate. Look forward to seeing you back on the grid. We know that you'll be here in support of the Quantum Boys, and you're always welcome to stop by and have a chat with us anytime you like. Chapman and Nixon to pit road. Watson holds off Muir. Mercedes leads Porsche, and the Aston's in there as well. It's 4 laps from here. It's 4 laps. We're going to get to 21. Here comes Chapman. Has he done it? Yes, he has! The undercut, the overcut, whatever you want to call it. The undercut didn't work for Muir, but the overcut did momentarily work for Chapman. And there goes Watson around the outside of the exit of 2, and he's gone! He's looped it! Can you believe this? Watson has looped it! He drops to 6th! Drama and action aplenty at Winton. Chapman to the lead with the overcut and the fuel save. Muir on his hammer. And this is Marcus Watson. Oh, he got a bit of help. He got a bit of help. We didn't see that from the previous angle. He got a bit of help. It was an ambitious move going up the outside into turn 3, and it nearly paid off. Now, will there be an invoice for Chapman to pay for that? Will there be well, there won't be a redress. Watson's too far down the road. Oh, boy. For the moment, it is the two combatants from last year's campaign, last term's encounter, that are going hammer and tong once more. But Muir is in the box seat here. car is in the box seat until race control come back with a verdict on their take of that incident between Watson and Chapman. And what about Aidan Cale? Jordan Malcolm, a beautiful run so far, albeit a relatively quiet achiever sort of run from him. He's gone relatively unnoticed. Seth Brown and Marcus Watson and Connor Nixon and Nick Foley-Attersdale. Sharp and Scott Hazler, the top 10. Hello, Sean McNamara. Good evening. Nice to have you on board. Hello, Chris Noble as well. Look forward to seeing you back on track later in the week. Although no Formula V still, and I'm still as disappointed as you are about that, just quietly. However, here is Sam Muir. All over the back of Chapo like a cheap suit. Aidan Cale. There were 3 different lines being taken through cleavage just then. Jordan Malcolm, Seth Brown, and Marcus Watson on the way back through. Now, the other point of interest here is positions gained. 7 for Gary Cousins, 7 for Craig Bond, 9 for Michael Adams, 10 for Andrew Franklin, and 13 for Jake Jackson, the pick of the bunch.
I think Chapo's still saving. I think Chapo's still saving fuel. I think he's done a Denchi and tried the short filler to get the track position. So now he's got to hold on.
Indeed. But is he in the clear? We've seen nothing yet from race control. Watch the bottom of your screen with interest, folks. It'll light up shortly, no doubt. There'll either be something there that says no further action, or a warning, or we're throwing the book at him. That'll be one of those 3 things. And I'm not in the position to judge that one way or another, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm not going to. I'm just going to wait for the verdict like the rest of you. In the meantime, there's 2 laps to go. It's Chapman, it's Muir, it's Cale. Muir, I mean, he has not had clear real estate. He has not had a clear view all night. He spent the first 2/3 of the race looking at the back of Marcus Watson. Now he's spending the rest of it looking at the back of Chapo. His nemesis from last term. He'd be sick of this bloke. And now, look at Aidan Cale, the unknown entity in all of this, really. The Aston hasn't had a lot of love from within the corridors of this club and its members in recent times. Trent Lavis came out and, did some good with it at, I think it was Donington. But right now, Cale's the only Aston in the top 10. Daniel Criasari's 13th. And then you've got to go all the way back down to Ash Stacey in 26th to find the only other Aston in the field. Nick Wilcoxon is parked up in pit lane and is out of business, unfortunately. To be fair, white flag in the air. Let's go one more time around. Chapman holding on. Muir's right there. Does he go for the dive at 1? Yes, but he's not. Oh, he's not close enough. He was too far back. Rightio. Now, the other thing as well, Michael Hammond's in pit lane and out of business. David Baz. Whoa! There we go. Trouble. Muir went for it. Chapman closed the door. Chapman got turned, and Aidan Cale went straight around the outside of everybody and said, thanks very much. And now Jordan Malcolm's in trouble here because he's trying to fend off Seth Brown as well. Oh boy, it's not over yet. The fat lady hasn't sung just yet.
Chapo was wide.
Chapman's got it wide at cleavage. Can you believe this? Chapman and Muir. Chapman back down the inside. Muir's got the inside running for turn 9. And all of a sudden, Aidan Cale was cleared out and said, thanks for coming. I'll take the win. I'll let you blokes fight for the rest of it. The minors, the scraps, and it's a 6-car fight for 2 spots on the podium. Big dive bomb down the inside. That was trouble brewing from Watson. He bowled it wide for Seth Brown and Connor Nixon in the bid to try and get back to 4th. He's back 4th at the moment, more trouble. This time it's Seth Brown, hung out to dry. Aidan Cale is going to put Aston on top of the summit in a result that no one saw coming. Sam's out of fuel. Muir goes to 2nd. Watson gets back to 4th. Malcolm, Nixon, Brown, Foley-Attersdale, Sharp and Hazler. Oh, it's good to be back. What the bloody hell was that last lap? It was tame for 29.5 minutes. And then all of a sudden, all hell has broken loose. The fireworks have gone off. And Aidan Cale has gone from 3rd to 1st on the final lap. other thing I will say here, that was Muir trying to bowl it down the inside, and how Cale didn't collect it on the outside, I'll never know. Jeez. And then look at this. So that was Jordan Malcolm trying to fend off. Was that Connor?
No, that was Seth Brown.
That was Seth.
Also, and
so Seth's gonna run out of luck there.
So Chapo touched the dirt on the outside. That's what's sending him wide into the cleavage.
Seth runs out of luck at turn 9, I think it was. Because Watson's going to fire it down the inside here on both him and Jordan Malcolm.
Yeah, what the big senior by Watson? He gets all of them.
Wushka. Oh, yeah, 3 into 1 was never going to go. But if anything, it looked like poor old Seth and Jordan were going to end up in the wars anyway. And then
Jordan Malcolm.
Oh. Can I just say, ladies and gentlemen, that the results board is going to go up on your screen in just a few moments' time, and I want it to be bolded and underlined in capital letters, the word provisional, because I think race control's got a little bit to have a look at on the back end of that. My goodness gracious me. One thing's known, one thing's clear, and that is that Aidan Cale is your victor. They're not taking that off him. Extraordinary stuff in the end. The margin is a little bit flattering, but that's also reminiscent of the fact that there was so much going on behind him that he just streaked very, very clear and very, very quickly. Sam Chapman behind Sam Muir. Again, you can't separate those two at a racetrack in GT4. Marcus Watson, desperately dead set unlucky in all of that. Again, whether race control's got something to say about the incident between him and Chapo that saw him drop from 1st to 6th, and then maybe the fact that he fired it down the inside where there wasn't really much room to do so to get back to 4th in the first place. Jordan Malcolm, Connor Nixon, Seth Brown. So all of that's provisional, 2nd through 7th. We'll just have a look at that later. Nick Fodiatis, who's just joined us in the booth. We'll have a chat to him in a moment. I didn't see much of Nick, but he's had a very clean run and come through in 8th after starting 7th. Dale Sharp started where he finished and finished where he started in 9th, and Scott Hazler in 10th. Extraordinary stuff. Alex Court, Gary Cousins, Daniel Correa-Sarr, Jacob Hughes, Brett Bradbury, Mitch Wood, Craig Bond, a good run in 17th. And then back to Paul Wood, David Christensen and Eduardo Zamora, the top 20. Michael Adams, Russ Green, Rory Wilson, Andrew Franklin, Jake Jackson, Ash Dodson, Ash Stacey, Kurt Normanson, Jamie Barker and Martin Pedersen made up the top 30. Bradley Mays, Pete Matson and Rick Burton, Adam Richards made up the top 34 in this field. And 75% of 21, let me just have a look at that. I think Mikey's just going to scrape through, but I want to double check it.
Sure. It's 24 laps would be the order for 6 laps
down. So 21 was what we got to. He would have had to have completed 15.75, and he's showing us 15.96 on my poll. Is that okay?
I'll have to check.
How many?
21 laps minus 25% is 15.75. So I think Mikey's just going to scrape through there, but unfortunately, David Sebastian Vandel, Nick Wilcoxon, and Adam Bambo St. John do not. Fodiatis, good evening to you and Happy New Year.
Good evening. Welcome to 25.
How good is it to be back at school?
Sweaty currently. I'm dripping. Just quickly, Adam, it's top 25 scores points, yes?
Correct.
Okay.
So,
yeah, no, it's
that means
nice
everyone down to Jake Jackson just to finish on Nick's point.
Sunny and humid, but typical Queensland day. It's beautiful today, but yeah, I'm feeling it now. Even though it's nighttime, it's I'm sweating. It's the first one back in a long time.
You're right. It is very balmy. It is very humid, but it was good fun, especially from our vantage point. As I said, it was tame right up until the white flag waved, and then all hell broke loose in that last 90 seconds. Talk me through it from your standpoint, mate. You started 7th, you finished 8th. A good, smooth, clean, consistent run by the looks of that.
Yeah, I turned into there at turn 5. I didn't even know Connor Nixon was there. So I was like, all right, he wants past, I'll let him pass. And as you can see, he's bumping across the curves, all sorts of things, sideways and a lot. But I was just sitting in following those guys. They were pushing lap upon lap. I wasn't pushing qualifying times there. trying to save a little bit for the end there, and didn't work out. Dale, I pulled out about 2 seconds on him, and then by the end of it, he was right on my bumper bar. I thought I'd save some tyres for the end to fight with it, but nah, not to be.
I've just brought Aidan Cale into the commentary box here, our race winner, mate. Just make sure that you've got push to talk working there so that when we cross to you, we can have a chat to you. In the meantime, let's say with you, Nick, how were the 5 weeks since we reconvened last for the Race of Champions spent from your end, please?
Well, I wasn't in front of this computer because I tried to get RBR going and I must have downloaded a dud version, so went to redo it again and I've just lost the interest with it, so I didn't do it. Picked up new work and I'm sitting in front of a computer during the day, and now I'm sitting in front of a computer at night time now, so...
No, welcome to my world. I just live in front of the bloody thing these days.
But I've gone from outside working in a shed...
Yes.
In the humidity and sweating your butt off just existing to actually being in nice, cool aircon.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. That sounds like an upgrade.
25 years of my adult working life in shorts and now have to wear long pants. But anyway.
It is what it is.
Yeah, in aircon.
Now, yeah, exactly. Long story short, in aircon. That's a win. From your standpoint, the rest of the team, I mean, you were the best of the Aussie Racers stable. You had good company in the form of Dale Sharp, though.
Yeah, it's actually surprising. Maybe time off has helped me out. I don't know. Tighter, as much as this, I'm not the biggest fan of this track. Tighter tracks tend to suit me. Give me more corners, kind of thing. So, yeah, it was interesting. I just really gritted my teeth and got in the top 10. I was like, oh, okay. And I'm the best of my team, so I don't know what was going on there. Mikey did join late, and I heard Mikey had some schmozzles along the way, and so Dale and myself would just head down, bum up, and I have to say, and I'm very proud of it, because I was trying a heap last season and last year to get a 0 incident race, and I've got it off the bat, so I'm very happy with that.
There we go. Maybe the break has done you some good. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey,
exactly.
Talk us through. We'll get Adam Lavis to bring up the calendar here. Get your thoughts on what you like and what you don't like about the next 9 weeks.
I like it all.
Well,
There's
that's true.
That's true. In really southern Florida there, but everything else, yeah, it's awesome.
I was going to say Sebring's on the other calendar. Yes, we'll get to that very shortly.
Yeah. I mean, round 3, round 4, get a bit of a British tour there. I love those 2 tracks. As we know, I'm a big fan of round 5. Round 6 would be good. Round 6, yeah, give me all this. This is good. Whoever chose these, top notch.
Well, I think you can send your compliments in regards to, was it Stridey that put this one together, Adam Lavis?
Yeah, Stridey's on the GT4s this season, on the tools.
There you go.
He's done a top-notch job.
In regards to him, absolutely. Hey, now, Porsche's still reliable. Mercedes still there, of course, but Aston's back in the fold, so it looks like there's going to be 3 manufacturers to vie for the title this term.
Yeah, no one took a Bimmer. Well, not that I can see anyway, and you can see up the front here, it's pretty much Formula Porsche Carrera Cup kind of thing. So, no, it's going to be good. I've had a little bit of a think how I've been breaking into these corners, and kind of paid off a bit there too. So, I'm still off the pace of the guys at the front, but hey, I got a top 10, I got 0 incidents, I got lots of bonus points, I'm happy.
Indeed. And just before I do let you go, with regards to next week, obviously, Okayama, there's a good Japanese circuit that's probably underused, actually. It's got a little bit of, open space for that all-out acceleration, but the third sector particularly is nice and tight.
Yeah, exactly. Hairpin 290 degrees, another 2 hairpins, another 290 degrees. So it's good fun. It's I guess in the real world, Zach, it's there's only one road in, one road out through the mountains there. That's why it's underused. I think only Super GT generally goes there. Formula One haven't been back since '95, so
exactly. It's been a long while between drinks since we've seen it on Australian screens. Now, 2 more things, and it's not related to GT4 at all. I know that I'll be catching up with you on Friday night. There'll be a lot of people saying, "Oh, we're in the bloody Indy cars," but they'll come at some point later in the season.
They
Le Mans hypercars. This is going to be interesting.
Oh yeah, The feedback I've been getting for these is it's looking good. I actually wanted to run it 2 seasons prior, but I got beaten to it via the LMP2s. But yeah, look, open season. I think Daytona is the real Daytona is this weekend. We just had the electronic Daytona this gone weekend. Hypercars, open setup, energy recovery. The IMSA cars all have the energy recovery on the rear axle. The Ferrari has it on the front axle because it's a bit more of the WEC rules. Other than that, they're all pretty much the same, and it should be good fun.
When are the dream team of Baldwin and Fodiatis reconvening for a GSRC podcast, please?
Yet to discuss. I dare say with Joe's plate at the moment, it's very full. So I'm going to have to talk to your co-broadcaster here and get my version of the stream up and going.
Yep.
And, which I wanted to do anyway. It's just so many things going on at the end of last year, trying to change jobs and the like. Now it's Joe's turn to sit back and relax. He's got a house to build, all sorts of things going on there. So yeah, I'll step up, and if I have to run it by myself, I will do.
Excellent. And I'll have a chat to you off air about that anyway, because I know that there were some discussions about doing some stuff together.
Some other ones, yeah,
exactly. So and the other thing is, aside from this, what else are you going to be jumping behind the wheel for this term, please?
Because I got weird hours or regular style hours, but they shift each week. It depends what I can get home in time for. So, and yeah, if it's a taxing day on the phones and behind the computer, who knows? I might just lay off. But look, 79s. I've always had a soft spot for old Formula 1 cars. I want to run the NASCAR. I want to run the supercar. Generally, my eye's been drawn to the earlier stuff, so I can get to bed early. And then obviously Friday nights I'm going to have to be in the admin part of that as much as I want to have a steer. But yes, all the early ones basically. If I can make them, I'll do them.
Very nice. Although that being said, it is earlier in your part of the world than it is in some of the progressive and civilized parts of the states and country anyway, but that's another story. Hey, great to catch up, buddy. Thank you for that.
Appreciate
well done tonight. Look forward to catching up next week and also on Friday night as well.
Yep, no worries. Catch you then.
There he is, the one and the only Nick Fodiatis. Great to have him back on the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club, one of the mainstays, one of the originals. Kurt Normanson's here, but I want to get to our race winner, Aidan Cale, before too much longer. Ladies and gentlemen, he's been very patient waiting for us there in the booth whilst we've been having a chat with Nick. It's a first-come, first-served sort of rule around here, Aidan. But, mate, congratulations. Well done. The Aston on top, and you stole that one from out of the clouds. I mean, to get 2 on the last lap at Winton is one thing, but to do them in one corner and not get collected because you went to the outside where all the danger was headed towards, I'd go and buy yourself a lotto ticket. You're on a lucky run at the moment.
Yeah, it definitely feels like that at the moment. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to win, but it was. Yeah, I was happy to kind of just sit in there for 3rd position. I'm thinking championship, so. You know, I was happy to sit there and kind of take 3rd, take some good points home, but I actually outbroke myself there at that corner, so I was expecting, to run off the track there, and then I heard a bit of contact there on that inside, so that I think that saved me at the end of the day.
I think it did. More than that, because, I mean, we're familiar with Muir, we're familiar with Chapman, Watson, Malcolm, etc. Give us a little bit of the Aidan Cale story, and this is a 2-part question. The second part of which is I want to know what drew you to the Aston Martin, please.
Well, that's a good question. I actually started prepping in the Mercedes. I've been doing a fair bit of hours in the Mercedes recently, and no, I don't know. There was just something about the Aston that just the driver. I don't know, the way that the car kind of suits my driving style. It's a little bit better than the Mercedes. I think I've got a higher ceiling in the Aston compared to the Mercedes. I think I can draw out a bit more consistency in it.
And that's important as well. A, it's a 10-week championship. B, it's going to be one on consistency. But C, more importantly, the driver's got to be comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, if the driver's not comfortable, then why bother showing up? for example, I cannot drive the Porsches actually, like, to save my life. So, you know, that obviously is not a choice that I'd even consider making. So it was, pretty much down to the Mercedes and Aston, and chose Aston.
What do you make of how the rest of that race played out, mate? Because you were always nipping at the heels of Muir and Watto there for the most part. The pit strategy and the sequence didn't necessarily change any of that. If anything, it just made the task harder because Chapo one-upped everybody and got through there into the lead, albeit momentarily. And then he and Sam Muir, of course, coming to blows. It had to happen eventually on that final lap. What was the plan of attack when you slotted in behind Watto and also Sam Muir there off the outset?
Plan of attack was really just to kind of settle in, do what I was doing really for the whole race, and kind of always be there, but not do anything stupid. I have a tendency to do stupid things in the heat of a moment, so just trying to rein it back in and kind of deal with it as it comes. And you know, I know the racing in the GT4 has been, like, in the last couple of seasons, has been absolutely red hot, and I mean today was no exception. So I was just kind of sitting there biding my time and kind of just waiting to see what would happen and see if anything would happen, and it ended up happening.
Indeed it did. Now, next stop on this calendar is the Okayama International Circuit. How familiar are you with it? Is it a circuit that you enjoy visiting?
To be fair, no, not really. That might give a little bit away to my competitors, but I'm not a huge fan of Okayama. I've done a couple laps in the Mercedes. I actually kind of went through all the tracks before the season started, just as the calendar was released, just to kind of get a feel for everything. I don't know where my pace would sit, but you know, in this championship, as you've alluded to before, it's all about consistency, and especially, you know, on a night like tonight, even if I was in third position, some guys, you know, might get into an incident. If I keep it clean, well, that's more points for me.
Indeed it is, mate. Nice to know that you've got a plan of attack. And the last one before I let you go, because we're running short of time, we've got GT3 standing by. What else are you going to jump behind the wheel of this season on the platforms of the GSRC?
Well, I'm a very big advocate for the supercars, so I'll definitely be doing a few rounds, if not most of those rounds, depending on what my work schedule's like. And I'm definitely going to jump in the trucks. I mean, you got to love NASCAR.
Well, you do, particularly the trucks, and the calendar for the NAS trucks this season is a beauty. I'll give Pete Matson and the crew there organising that series all due credit. Of course, Orbic through Pete backing the series, and that is exclusive to Wednesday Night Motorsport this term. Yes, Adam?
Joe's the one who runs that one.
Joe's running the series. So El Presidente just taking on more work as part of his presidential duties. I like it. Hey, speaking of presidential duties, the inauguration of DJ Trump tomorrow morning at 3 a.m. for anyone that's going to be burning the candle at both ends on a Monday night into a Tuesday morning. Hey, Aidan, well done, mate. Look forward to seeing you on the grid on Wednesday night in that case. And now that you are the championship leader here, I would assume, until we see bonuses and everything else come through from race control, and also the review of the tape of the last lap, because there was a lot of garbage going on behind you, mate. You are the man to beat going into Okayama. So well done, and look forward to seeing you next week.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Very nicely done. And to finish off our GT4 post-race show, ladies and gentlemen, do stick around, because GT3 still to come from the Jerez circuit in Spain. 60 minutes of racing coming up there from 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time. But to finish off the entree on a Monday night, and let's be honest, the main course has got a lot to live up to after this. Kurt Nommensen, good evening to you. Welcome back. Happy New Year and all that jazz. Talk us through the night from your standpoint, please.
Probably one to forget, but that's what happens when you decide about 10 minutes before qualifying that you want to race the GT4 cars at Winton. So, you know, that's a little bit on me for that one.
Kurt, there's two things that we need to question here. One is last-minute spur-of-the-moment decisions don't necessarily pay off, but GT4 and Winton, I wouldn't have thought that would have been a combination to get around at the last minute.
Yeah, it probably wasn't the smartest choice, but I was just going to sit here and probably not do much until the GT3 session opened, so I thought I may as well fill the time driving a car.
Why not? But anyway, in saying that, now that you've done that, you finished in 28th. I mean, at least you got home. There were a few that were walking out of here with their tail dangling between their legs. What did you make of the half hour, and does it entice you to come back and have another play in GT4 next week?
We'll see how we go, because again, this is the one right when I'm finishing work, so potentially may not make it for GT4 every week. We'll just see how we go for that one. But it should be a bit of fun. I enjoy just potting around. I'm not the quickest in a GT4 car, but I'm there to have a bit of fun.
And unlike some parties within this club, you can't blame the time zones for the late finish at work. We can. Now, you mentioned GT3. What are you jumping behind the wheel of, please?
I've been running the new car, the Acura. I clicked with that really well in the officials and thought, you know what, I'll just stick to my guns and run the new one.
Well, it has been about 6 weeks that it's been available in the server for, isn't it? So you've had a bit of time to get acquainted with it.
Yeah, it's probably been my fastest car that I've ever driven, so I'm pretty happy with it.
Oh, very nicely done. And where will we see you, in the AM split or the Pro Am?
Still in Pro Am. I wasn't that slow at the end of the season. Come on.
Oh, mate, there's that many names and that many splits and that many everything else to try and keep my head around. So, no, I appreciate the clarification on that. We look forward to checking in with the Pro. I think we get to check in with Pro Am in week 3.
Next week.
For the second of the next week, is it? Next week for Pro Am.
If it stays the way it is, it's going to be a very busy track for you.
Okay, well, that's good to know. And I'm hoping it's the same in GT3 Pro, just quietly. Hey, well done, mate. What else are you going to jump behind the wheel of if time permits this term?
Definitely be running the supercars, but as I've already told the boys in Revolution, I'm focusing on the GT3 car and just turning up to race the supercar for a bit of fun and get more track time in it. And then in the Friday night series, we'll see how I go for the other series, but yeah, definitely Monday, Wednesday, and Friday that I'll be able to turn up for.
Oh, the hypercars. Oh, very nice. Excellent. And Nick Fodiatis mentioned it earlier. They're off to the Daytona International Speedway this Friday night, in line with the Rolex 24 this weekend. And GT3, ladies and gentlemen, which we're bringing you in just a few moments' time, there are 3 sports car, GT car classics that unfold throughout Term 1, and we visit all 3 of those venues: Daytona, Sebring, much to Nick Fodiatis' dismay, and also Mount Panorama Bathurst as well. So we're looking forward to all of that. Kurt, we'll let you go. Come back and check in with us after GT3, please.
Yeah, too easy.
And well done again. At least you made it to the finish. There are a few that weren't necessarily able to do that. Hey, we're up and away, ladies and gentlemen, on a Monday night. How good is it to be back on the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club? Nice to have you along for the ride, wherever you're tuning in, all around Australia, or indeed the world, across Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. We're doing it with thanks to those people scrolling across the bottom of your screen, most notably Waste Options, Trophy.ai, and of course also Orbic Australia, the great people at Bowen's, the Builder's Choice, JJZ Constructions, hello Josh, merch.tgsrci.com, and also Flash Graphics, and the great people at Sprayton Cider, again taking on that naming rights of the club honour in Term 1 of 2025, Season 20, year number 6 for the club. And it's if that's anything to go by, it is going to be an absolute beauty. There's no doubt about that. GT4 was one of our favourite offerings in Term 4, and they've picked up exactly where they left off with some fireworks and action aplenty that held our breath until the very end. So we're looking forward to what they bring to the table when we get to Okayama next week. Good to see Daniel Snedden tuning in. Look forward to seeing you on track on Wednesday night, mate. Thank you for that. If you are tuning in, we'll go around the grounds on the other side. The Australian Open, of course, Alex Demonor just about to get on to Rod Laver Arena. The girls' Ashes T20 portion underway. Some score updates on the other side. And then we go racing from the Jerez circuit in Spain. Stay with us. Monday Night Motorsport for the first time in 25. From Australia to Spain, as Waste Options Monday Night Motorsport continues. Waste Options GT Night, as it'll be referred to. This season, we move from the entree of GT4 to the main course of GT3, the mainstay on a Monday night for so many seasons. And the circuit de Jerez more synonymous these days with MotoGP, but it has hosted a good 1 or 2 Formula One Grand Prix in its time as well. Don't worry about that. It is the setting for the opening round of this season, and it is a 14-race calendar featuring 4 60-minute races, 2 90-minute races, and also 4 sprint rounds as well. There are the weather serving, track weather conditions, etc. and so forth. I'm going to get back to them in just a moment once we click on over into race trim, ladies and gentlemen. But first and foremost, there's the circuit, 4.37 kilometers, and it is clockwise the direction around here. And again, not dissimilar to Winton in the sense that there's a little bit of nitpicky sort of follow the leader stuff that goes on in the tighter sections of the circuit, but at least this circuit does lend itself to good racing and good overtaking opportunities as well. And there will be some strategy gamesmanship on show tonight as well. The big news here is that we've got a front row that is all prancing horse Mustang at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, with the ponies of Ben Woods and Matthew Dench, the 12-time champion, sitting there front and centre on the front row. Pole margin at the moment, believe it or not, is 2 thousandths of a second. 135.990 plays 135.992. We've also got the addition of the Acura, and there's quite a few drivers dipping their toes into that and having a play with that this term. 7 manufacturers of the 10 available to us in total are being represented out there tonight. No love for the Lambo, the Audi, or the Mercedes, but everything else is going to be on circuit in some way, shape, or form. There is only one BMW out there, but multiples of every other manufacturer that I've mentioned, including the Corvette, the Porsche, the Ferrari, the Acura, the Ford, and also, of course, the McLaren getting a little bit of love as well. Let's have a look at this calendar for you, because I mentioned a few moments ago that we've got 3 enormous sports car and GT racing events coming up throughout the course of the next 10 weeks in the real world, and we visit all 3 of those circuits, albeit a little bit later than what the real world would do, except for Sebring. We are there the day after the Sebring 12-hour wraps up. We start off in Spain, we then go to Suzuka, then to the Netherlands, to Circuit Park Zandvoort, on to one of our all-time favourites, Road Atlanta. We'll have sprint racing in weeks 2, 3, 5 and 7. Donington Park and Hockenheim also playing host to sprint rounds. Mount Panorama back on the calendar, back as a 90-minute feature, which we're excited about in week 6. That's 3 weeks after the 12-hour, of course. Mobility Resort Motegi, so 2 trips to Japan this season. And then, of course, the 2 sports car favourites in Sebring and the Daytona Road Course to finish us off. 60 minutes at Sebring, 90 at Daytona. And for any of our members that are going to dip their toe into the Logitech GT3 series that starts that week, they'll get to start their week and end their week with Daytona, because it'll be 90 minutes for us on the Monday night and 3 hours for them on the Friday night. Let's have a look at the grid. The first one of the term in Waste Options GT3. Benny Woods with pole, 2 thousandths of a second to Matty Dench. Bugger all separating those two, and it promises to be a real good battle, particularly now that Denchy is bound by the same obligations as everybody else on the fuel-saving front. He's got to do 2 compulsory pit stops here. Lewis Greathead and Richard Mitchum from the second row, Todd Hayne and Dane Snowden the third, Daniel Benefield and Corey Bennett the fourth. Of course, looking forward to having Daniel back with us, hopefully on a Thursday night throughout the course of the term. Sean McLaughlin and Simon Mesimo, the first 5 rows on the grid. 6th row will be Jake Slade and Tyson Broad. 7th row will be Sam Chapman and Glenn Arnott. 8th row will be Nick Wood and Jermaine Takaloo. 9th row will be Richard King and Jonathan Hooper. 10th row will be Andrew Dutch and David Johnson. 11th row will be Aaron Cooper and Sebastian Prostimo. There's a new name. Dave Riddell and David Hayne from the 12th row. That's a new Hayne. We're used to having Todd and Adam. Now we've got David as well. Thomas Foster and Russ Green from 13. Dale Sharp and Connor Nixon from 14. A bit of work to do there for young Connor. John Wright and Craig Schultz will make up the top 30. 31st on the grid will be Adam Chiplin, and Kevin Henderson, I think, might be in race control. Jackson Dial, Andrew Neal. Let's hope those guys are coming from the back of the grid. Yes, Jackson is, but not Andrew. It doesn't look like he's joined the fold. So, Hendo's in race control, ready to read these guys the right act. Let's wait and see what unfolds here. The first race of the new term. A lot of interest in the Honda Acura, Adam Lavis, but also a lot of interest in seeing if Denchi can rack up the Baker's dozen.
Yeah, Denchi's been the man to beat in this series. He's let a couple of guys have a crack in the Porsches, and we had one of our best seasons last season. But he's still got a tight stranglehold on the GT3. So, first blood to Ben. Can he go on with it?
Indeed. Now, just quickly going around the grounds, Alex Demonor up with 2 breaks over Alex Mickelson in the first set on Rod Laver Arena. It is 3-love on Demonor's serve here.
If I'm not mistaken,
and
Denchi's joined the Drop Bear crew.
Yes. So, Orbit Drop Bear Motorsport. So, there's something there that we need to have a look at and investigate. In the meantime, we won't do that because we're going racing, ladies and gentlemen. The first time this term in Waste Options GT3, and Ben Woods leads the field to turn 1 clearly on Matty Dench. Great head slots into 3rd. Dane Snadden's made a good start getting by. Todd Hayne up into 5th.
2 Mustangs lead. What's going on?
Hayne and also Daniel Benefield arguing over the same piece of real estate, and the Ferrari has gone to 6th. We should know that if there's a Ferrari in the top 10, it will be Daniel Benefield. We knew he didn't like the McLaren last term. He stayed true and loyal to the Ferrari for term 1 of 2025. Down the back straight for the first time.
And there's also another thing. The Twitchy Foot Boys have had a rebrand. They're now, what are they? The Entropy Sim Sports, going for a bit of red rather than the blue. And also, something you might like here, Zaki, the HTS guys have just gone from a new lick of paint. It's got a lot more yellow on it.
Very good. I'm all for the yellow. I'm all for it. In fact, I was going to say, how impressive does the new GT4 logo look with that magnificent stripe of yellow on the 4, ladies and gentlemen, too, by the way. And I just reminded myself, too, for true force of habit, because I was talking about broadcasters for this term. Of course, Joe's still on Friday night, but Daniel Correa-Sarr is going to double up, isn't he? He's going to do Wednesday and Thursday. So
correct.
I've got to change that on the graphics before I put them up on socials tomorrow, because I've still got Chapo listed on Wednesdays for some reason. Even though I read it right, I've typed it wrong. Now, let's go down the main straight. So Orbit and Drop Bear merged late last year is the mail that we're getting from our good mate Sean McNamara. Good evening to you, mate. Thanks for jumping on in and joining us for the first night of the new term. A lot of eyes on GT3 this season, and a lot of competitors across the 3 splits as well. In excess of 50 in Pro-Am, we understand. We'll have the results from Pro-Am and Am for you at the end of the broadcast here. Now, let's be perfectly honest too, ladies and gentlemen, as Ben Woods continues to lead the way here. We didn't start that race till 8:51 Eastern Daylight Time, so that little bit of carryover time after qualifying and the warm-up and everything else, we're running about 6 minutes behind our usual schedule here. We normally aim for a race start of around 8:45. It never ends up being that way, unless we're on a sprint night, of course. So Ben Woods leads from Matt Dench, 3-4 to the top 4, and the Acura of Lewis Greathead in there in 3rd. So the Acura is going to be competitive. We've got Porsches and Ferraris in the top 10 as well. Good representation of the Acura. Lewis Greathead, Corey Bennett, Tyson Bradshaw, McLaughlin, Sam Chapman. That's 5 in the top 15. Richard King, Jonathan Hooper, and Russ Green. And that's it. So only the 8 Acuras out there. Kurt Nommensen was saying to us off air there, Adam, there wasn't as much uptake on the Acura, maybe because it's not the balance of performance car in iRacing parlance this term.
Well, it's just they've put in as a relatively even car rather than OP, so it's actually getting a nice good mix of GT3s for a change rather than having a one-mate class with a couple of stragglers. So nice and refreshing.
And on that subject, look how many people aren't in a McLaren anymore either. Just Jermaine Tacklew, Sebastian Prostimo, Dave Riddell, David Hayne, Connor Nixon, Dale Sharp, and Adam Chiplin. So just the 7 McLarens out there in the first of 10 rounds of GT3 this season. It is pick and stick, as always, ladies and gentlemen. There are 2 compulsory pit stops in these 60-minute races now as well. Just a little bit of a term-on-term tweak to the rule book. So that does eliminate the element of possibility of anybody doing a one-stop. So it does shake things up a little bit in the sense that we do need to keep an eye on those critical laps and those windows in which our competitors might be transiting the lane. Ben Wood's the leader. Matty Danch, Lewis Greathead, Richard Mitchum and Dane Snadden. Jared Knight, if the PC didn't, what the bed last night, he would have been in the solitary McLaren. It would Mercedes, I should say, it would appear. Yes, that's right, mate. No Mercs out there on this track at the moment, in this split at least. I'm not sure about Pro-Am and Am. We'll find out later. But disappointing news for you that the PC has let you down right on what we'd like to refer to as Christmas Eve. The first day of school. Hope you're well, mate. Hopefully see you at a kart track at some point throughout the course of this year. I've got trips to Bega, Grenfell and Orange all locked up and ready to go at the moment, but there's a possibility that I might come to Sydney in late September and see you guys at 4 SKA as well, but that's only if the following weekend I'm required for the Karting New South Wales State Championships. I did put my hat into the ring and say to Drew Russell, should I ink that one or just pencil it? And he said, pencil it and I'll get back to you. And unfortunately, due to circumstances that have been well documented over the off-season as well, and I should make mention of it here, he's resigned from his post as the Director of Karting New South Wales. And the reason for that is that his dad and a good mate of ours, and Aaron Russell is, of course, one of our racing members as well. Their dad, Wayne, all too suddenly and all too soon, passed away on Boxing Day at the age of 62. And we just want to take that opportunity right there and now to say good day to the Russell boys, to Aaron and Drew, and wish them all the best on behalf of everyone here at the club, and let them know that we're thinking of them. And hopefully we'll see Aaron back on the grid at some point during the course of this season as well. Ben Woods, Matty Danch, Louis Greathead, Richard Mitchum and Dane Snadden, the top 5. And for anybody in the Hunter Valley area that is looking for a little bit of fun behind the wheel, make sure you go and say good day, pay the boys a visit at Go Karts Go in Broadmeadow and also Kersley as well. And I think there's one more, but the name of the suburb escapes me at the moment. But yes, definitely Broadmeadow and Kersley. I've been to both. I've recently got behind the wheel of a kart at the Kersley facility and was very quickly reminded why I stick to commentary these days as well. Now, Ben Woods leads. Matty Dench second. No change 1, 2, 3 and 4, exactly where they started. Dane Snadden and Daniel Benefield up 1 apiece. 2 positions lost so far by Todd Hayne in the Porsche. Corey Bennett remains where he started in 8th. Simon Mesmo up 1 and Tyson Broad up 2 as well. Good to see Mesmo expanding his footprint in terms of his GSRC involvement, of course, at the forefront of a lot of the action that we brought you in the Porsche Cup last term. Nelson Bay was the other one, Daniel Snedden. Thank you for that one. And, of course, Cameron Park. We're synonymous with Cameron Park with regards to the sprint karting, but you've just reminded me, I forgot that they were taking the hire karts out there as well nowadays as a side offering, an opportunity to do some weekday business at the Newcastle Kart Club. My old stomping ground where I cut my teeth as both a racer and a commentator. Lovely part of the world and one of the great tracks of Australian karting, there's no doubt about that. Good on you, mate. Thank you for filling in the gap there for me. I hadn't been to this bay. I might have to put it on the to-do list. Ben Wood still leads from Matty Danch. It's only half a second, so he's controlling the race at the moment. Right? How many times have we seen this, Adam Lavis? We watch someone drag Denchi along and then he'll one-up him on pit road.
He loves to do that little strut.
First night of the new term. How good is it to be back, ladies and gentlemen? And I should tell you as well, I mean, Alex Demon was up 5-love at Melbourne Park on Rod Laver Arena. So that's the first set of his match at the Open, and that's just about in the bag. There's no other matches being played on the singles front at the moment. They're all wrapped up. Australia against England, the women's Ashes underway. The Aussies batted first, and they posted 7 for 192. So the Poms, 7 for 198. So the Poms will need 199, almost 10 and over, to win that match. And if they don't, Australia will retain the Ashes. So a bit of history awaits tonight. Whether you're watching the platforms of the GSRC, the wide world of sports, or 7 Sport around Australia. Now, surely the Fez of Benefield comes on strong through the stint. Well, you would think so, and Benefield's a proven performer of improving as the race goes on, Sean, so we'll wait and see. Time will tell. Daniel, it's not game over yet. It's only 5-love in the first set. He's still got to win another 2 yet. Don't ride the horse home just yet. He's not quite... It's a very good start, but he's got to go on with it. We've seen people come back from losing the first set already in this tournament. So, Benny Woods controlling the race. How nice to see Mustangs at the front, and good to see Denchi stay true to his word as well, Adam Lavis, in the sense that he said that he was going to go out and run the Mustang just to prove a point, and he stuck to it.
Yeah, it's good. It's usually it's funny how things have changed. Like the Mustang and the Corvette came out, and did she hold on to it? And it was like the one season where the new cars weren't quite up to the what the players felt was up to scratch. But then they got a nice little fix for last season, and they came back to being competitive. And now this season, we've got we had 3 in the top 4, but Mitchum's just dropped back a little bit. He's been boxed around the ears. But yeah, 2 out in front, two big horses leading the way. It's good to see.
Indeed it is. And just recapping there as well, Iga Swiatek went through very comfortably in her match, 6-love, 6-1. Earlier on centre court there on Rod Laver Arena, we brought you the breaking news that Gael Monfils had retired hurt from his match. There is one other match underway, and I've only just come across this. I reckon it's probably still on 9 Gem if I go over there and have a look at it. And that is Kazatkina and Navarro, 4-6, 7-5, and currently 5-6. Kazatkina needing, this is a women's round of 16 match, needing to win that game to take it to a match tiebreaker over 10 points. So a lot still riding on that match at the moment. And remember, if it's not on 9 or 9 Gem, they're both on 9 and 9 Gem, those 2 matches. I was going to say anything else that's currently unfolding at Melbourne Park, you can watch on Stan Sport. Remember, this is the time of the year, ladies and gentlemen, and I say it all the time when we get the footy season, but summer's just as good. And now that we start in the middle of January for some unknown reason, I was enjoying my vacation, can't you tell? Now that we start in January, you still need your sports bar set up, ladies and gentlemen. The cricket, the tennis, the motor racing, we've got all bases covered tonight. It's good stuff. So, the big movers and shakers thus far, there's a lot of single-digit moving in a positive and negative direction, plus 2s and 1s, par for the course. Jackson Dial, Whiskey Business Racing. Can we get a look at him just momentarily, please, Adam Lavis? Up from 33rd on the grid into 27th. A lot of work still to be done there, but he's making small inroads in the early stages of this race. No Andrew Neil, no Kevin Henderson. The big loser so far, unfortunately, Jonathan Hooper, down 14 spots. So the top and tail there. Oh no, there's a spinner. There is a spinner. It is Benny Woods. Can you believe that? Oh, big one! Running blind into Benny Woods, and there's an enormous pile up now. 3 cars involved, and one of them will be on the tow rope. That's Benny Woods. Can you believe that? Jermaine Tacklew also involved. I missed who the other one might have been. We'll get a replay of that, unfortunately. So Benny's had a moment here. Let's just watch this through the left. Oh, the car's just snapped out from under him. That's an enormous snap in the wrong direction. It's thrown him into the gravel trap.
He's going to have dirt on his tyres. He's going to spin again. It's the new
cold tyres, dirty tyres, gone.
Yeah, it's the new physics model with the gravel and stuff on the track. If you get dirty your tyres, they're slick as for a few corners.
And then watch the rejoin, bang.
Yeah, that's Germain, and 102's David Johnson.
Cooper and David Johnson have also ended up involved in that. Cooper's come into pit lane as well. Johnson, Tackler and Woods out of business. Can you believe that? And how quickly the game changes. And all of a sudden, Sean McNamara's point rather prevalent about Daniel Benefield, because he said surely he comes on as the race unfolds. Well, he's now 4th. So, Densham Greathead +1.
Oh, look at the amount of gravel.
Snadden, Whiskey Business Racing.
They're going to need to be so careful in this sector now with all that gravel around. It's going to be very easy. It's going to be very easy. That's the new physics you missed out on because it just happened after the last season. So now gravel is brought onto the track, and it is an ice rink. If there's enough gravel, especially in the Formula cars, you can turn up and have a zero grip. You would have seen because you would have done in the Super Formula Light, the Interclub. That's for the first race. Yeah.
The key word of that broadcast was debris, because everyone was talking about the debris and slipping up on the debris and this, that, and the other on the debris. So all of a sudden, it now becomes the talking point in the opening race of the new term of Waste Options GT3. Jermaine Takaloo, Ben Woods still on pit lane. Benny Woods would not be able to believe he's that's hairy. That's close for comfort. Todd Hayne.
Oh, he's very picked.
Mesimo pounces on that. Haynes hung out to dry. Mesimo jumps up into P6. Bennett wants a piece of this as well. Broad and McLaughlin are there too. Benefield leads a train that is now 17th, 18th in fact, with Sam Chapman latching onto the back of it. And now the moves are on. Dench controls at 1.5 seconds to Greathead, Snadden 3rd. But then there's this battle pack being headed by Daniel Benefield. He's up in 4th. There are 4 different manufacturers in the top 4. There are 4 Acuras, 3 Porsches, 2 Fords and Ferrari in the top 10. 1 Ferrari, that is, in the top 10. And Daniel Benefield happens to be the 4th manufacturer in the top 4. And 4 different teams in the top 4 as well. So we do one around the grounds update. And Alex Demonor finished the first set. 6 Love bageled Mickelson, by the way. And all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. One little... It was just a weird incident for Benny Woods, wasn't it? It was as though you could see him trying to get hold of the car and steer it left, and then it just twitched. It snapped on him, didn't it? And just sent him off into the gravel, and the rejoin, he was no hope.
Yeah, it's a snowball effect there, unfortunately. Benny's gone all downhill real fast for him, the poor fella.
Gregory Brooks, the first mention of the benchmark for the new term. Nobody able to properly meet him. Well, Benny Woods was going stroke for stroke, punch for punch there a few moments ago until that race-defining moment. And the point from is that Munchie 2x2 is 100% spot on. Benny Woods couldn't have been safer with the rejoin if he tried, but that new debris model and the new effects model has unfortunately bit him on the rear end, and a couple of others as well inadvertently, who arrived on the scene blind and just ran straight into Benny Woods. Not enough time to take evasive action and see what happens with that, the fuel save. Yeah, don't wind them up any more than they're already wound up and fed up with that, Daniel. They don't need encouragement. A bit like me in daylight saving. I don't need encouragement. Oh dear. So it's really changed the shape and effect and narrative of the race here, hasn't it? And there's Dave Riddell in 18th place. Michael Adams, good evening to you. Thank you for the clarification there. Again, I'm just reading handle names, and that's how it comes up on the comments there. So thank you for the clarification. Nice to have you on board again, mate. Does the comments box have access to race control, Jeff Adams? Well, yes and no. By that I mean that we certainly do have a way in which race control can feed us messages that you see on the screen at home, and they are certainly able to come in and have a chat to us during the broadcast if they get time. But we can't go down there and say good day to them. It just doesn't work like that. Technology is a beautiful thing when it works, but it's not perfect. and poor Woodsy indeed. So one of the great improvers of Term 4, we mentioned that in our coverage of both GT3 and the Porsches last term, didn't we? Just without any of the bloody luck. So, Dench continues to lead and control it by 2 seconds. Striking new livery on Denchy, but I'm not sure I'm as fond of it as I was the Orbit livery. There was a lot more yellow on that previous livery for Denchy. But anyway, it's great to see him out there all the same. And now, Adam Lavis, there's also incentive to say, well, when you rack up number 13, you need to come back in the Acura.
Well, he's still got a couple to go as well. The Acura's the one.
BMW?
I think he's done. You always fear the BMW. He's done the BMW.
Okay. So, well, what hasn't he done then? He's pretty sure he's done the Lambo, the Audi. He's now having a crack in the Mustang, the Acura. I'll have to go back and have a look. I know all the info's there. I've just got to go back and have a look.
Acura definitely. I think there might be one other one, but I can't remember for sure. Oops, pit stops to start.
Righto. So this is about in line with when we expected pit activity to start, ladies and gentlemen. There's a couple of drivers that theoretically are going right down the middle, 20, 40 and home. We're at the end of the 20th minute right now. There it is, 20 minutes gone. So third race distance and 12 laps complete. So that gives you an idea that we're on track for 35, 36, depending upon how much time we lose in pit transit. And certainly, I mean, the lap times are around about that 1 minute 36 marker. So that doesn't make it easy to do the mathematics, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, it is what it is. Based on the fact that we started lap 13 before that 20-minute marker, yes, you'd be confident of getting 36 laps. But again, it all comes down to that pit transit. And there's Jackson Dial on the comeback trail. And up 15 spots now. Connor Nixon, David Hayne, Adam Chiplin, Jonathan Hooper and John Wright in behind him. But what's also important to note here, of course, Aaron Cooper, David Johnson had come into the pits. Benny Woods is still there. Jermaine Takalo is parked up and he is done for the night. And Benny, if he loses too much more in the way of laps, he may as well park it up as well. Do they have fast repairs in GT3 or not?
Yeah, there's one in the 1 hour races for the pro guys.
Okay, so Benny could have theoretically taken that, and so could have Jermaine, but they may have chosen not to. Is that right?
Potentially.
All right, here we go. Pit lane activity for Jackson Dial now this time by. In behind that, Sean McLaughlin, Sebastian Prostimo, Dale Sharp, Dave Riddell, David Johnson, and also Aaron Cooper have completed their stops. Johnson and Cooper out of sync, but by no means out of business compared to everybody else. The fact that they were able to stop on lap 8 might just enable them to get home on one more stop. I don't know exactly how long you can go on a tank here, and we're going to get an indication in the next couple of laps courtesy of Denchi and Greathead. But I would suggest that if it is a 35, 36, 37 lap race, which is the ballpark figure, then if Denchi can get to 14, 14 and 14 is 28, so there's no reason why, with 8 already on the board, those two can't make it on just one more stop.
It's 2 stop CPS.
That might be their saving grace.
Yeah, so it's a two stop minimum. So they can pit whenever they like, but they're still going to do 2 stops before the by the lap the white flag comes out, basically.
Yeah.
They can't be all Michael Schumacher and try and pit on the check. It doesn't work.
Oh no. So if hypothetically, if Denchi was to take the white flag and someone was to pit at the start of that final lap,
that's fine.
That's okay.
You can pit on your white flag lap.
Right. Here we go. So Mesmo, Hayne, Bennett, and Slade all in this time by, and the top 11 now going to lap 15. Mustangs, Dench, Mitchum, Arnott, Wood, and Dutch. The Acuras of King, Chapman, and Broad. and also Greathead, plus the Porsche of Snadden and the Ferrari of Benefield. Still 4 manufacturers in the top 4. Benefield under pressure from Mitchum. Greathead under pressure from Snadden. And no one stopping Matty Dench at this point in time. 2.2 the margin. And remember too, ladies and gentlemen, next Monday night, a lot of pressure on a lot of people here. Not so much in a work sense, but in a family sense, because long weekends, holiday travel, etc. and so forth. But even though it is a public holiday, obviously the Australia Day long weekend, Australia Day the Sunday, the public holiday for it on the Monday as a result, we are still on air next Monday night. Does that mean I get time and a half? I'm not sure. No. Next Monday night, we are still on air. We are still racing. So hopefully all these guys have dotted the I's and crossed the T's with regards to any potential long weekend getaways and travel arrangements to make sure that they're back in time to be in the cockpit and ready to fire at 4:30 Western, 7:30 Eastern, or 8:45 Eastern and 5:45 Western, depending upon whether they're running GT4, GT3, or both. And of course, for the first time this season, it's an all-Oriental night. We've got the Okayama International Circuit for GT4 and just up the road at Suzuka for GT3, and the first sprint round of the campaign as well. So we're very excited about that. What we're also excited about is the real possibility that Alex Mickelson's going to get bageled here, completely bageled. He's down 6 love and 2 love at the moment, and Demonor's got a break point on him in the third game of the set as well. So it could well be 6 love, 3 love in a moment. No, he's just shanked it. So it's juice instead. Matty Dench leads Lewis Greathead. Just having a look at pit lane. Tyson Broad's in there now, as well as Connor Nixon and David Hayne. So this field's slowly but surely cleansing, but still a lot of people yet to take the bait and make that first stop. But wide. Whoa! Greathead off the road and in the gravel. Now he has to be careful. The next corner could really be tricky. Oh, he navigated it not too badly in the end. But that means that Dane Snadden for Whiskey Business Racing runs second. You saw it on board with Louis Greathead. Unbelievable. So, 2 minor mistakes thus far. One for Woods, which ended up being very costly, proved to be detrimental, unfortunately, for him and a few others. And now that little lapse for Louis Greathead. And Dane Snadden finds himself in second, up 4 spots to the first round of pit stops. Greathead, Mitchum, Snadden, Chapman, Arnott, Wood, King, all in. Surprise, surprise, Dench plays on. Dench goes to lap 17. But now, we've got our window, don't we? We have our window. Daniel Snedden. If I squint, I'm coming second. He's talking about Dane Snadden. I like it a lot. It's good to see a decent mix of manufacturers. Absolutely it is.
Oh, Benefield.
Now, Daniel Benefield is going to go. He's leapfrogged everybody. Whoa! Jeez, I tell you what, it's heated further back. Mesimo under the pump from Richard Mitchum, and he's rejoined with Dane Snadden. So, Snadden has come out behind Benefield, who's gone the short fill. Snadden's gone the full fill. Mesimo and Mitchum have gone a shorter fill. Louis Greathead's gone a full fill. Keep your eyes peeled on all of that, folks. Because there's some gamesmanship about to unfold here, Adam Lavis, and this is the point I wanted to make. Now that we know what our parameters are, lap 17, okay, let's say we are going to 36 or even 37, at least we know what our parameters are and how long it's going to take us to get home. Matty Dench at the end of lap 17, the Dench mark again. The latest he can stop is lap 34, but the earliest he can stop, hypothetically, would be lap 19 or 20.
He's in now. This is a little bit of the positive of bringing in the CPS rule. Now that everyone knows it's going to be 2 stops, and also the fact that I know it's going to be 2 stops, I've been able to relax the restriction on their tank, so they've got a little bit more playroom in the strategy window. So they got this bit more room to play with the short stops and the track position and the games to try and leapfrog each other and one-up each other during the race. So it's going to be a bit more interesting to see how they play their cards now.
live update for you as well, whilst Adam Lavis is updating everybody on.
Speaking of short stops,
exactly how they're going about strategy play, as Matty Gench rejoins and does so. It was a short stop. It was a short drop, so it'll be a short stint for him. So it's 2 short stoppers. Gench and Benefeld that lead the way. Dane Snadden is 3rd, and Simon Mesmo is 4th. Dane Snadden's actually really well positioned here. I like where he's at the moment because it's going to be a shorter stop for him on the run home. What's interesting too is just as you were explaining on strategy play, England are 2 for 4. England are 2 for 4. Demonor has dropped his first game of the match, but he's still up 2-1 in the second, having won the first 6 love. And we've got a real race on our hands here at Jerez in Spain. It's all happening. Riding on board now with Jackson Dye. Open setup or fixed setup is the question, Adam Lavis.
Open setups.
I know we have a mix of both, and I didn't want to comment one way or the other. I couldn't comment.
So Dale's actually gone away from it. He's chosen orange for his season. Look out.
Oh, yeah, I know. What's going on here with Sharp? It's a change. But then again, I mean, Paul Woods had a change of colour in recent times as well, and he's now left the door wide open for Jackson Dye to make his way through. But Sharpie, if he can hold that line around the outside, puts himself on the inside of the next corner. These two are arguing over 15th and 16th, or 16th and 17th rather. And Dole holds on around the outside. One of our Australian Open World National Champions, of course. And Sharp tucks back into 17th. Good commitment there from Jackson Dole. Got the pace, there's no doubt about that. Don't know what went wrong for him in qualifying, whether it was a later rhyme or he just couldn't string a lap together. But it's been a good pushback through the field thus far.
I think, yeah, Jackson's a bit of a bad quality, but he's slowly working his way forward. And I think Jackson's a bit more open wheelie style driver. He seems to be going real well with the SFLs and the downforce legends type cars. So I think GT3 might be a little bit of Achilles heel. He's just trying to work that one out. We'll see how he goes with later races in the season.
It will. Oh boy, all happening here. Waste Options GT night on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Night 1 of Term 1 of 25. Monday Night Motorsport back in business. And what a way to breathe new life into the campaign. The arrival of the Acura, Drenchy in the Mustang, so much to be excited about and look forward to throughout the course of the campaign here. And we're riding on board with Sam Chapman, the other Australian Open World National Champion, it's important to note. And I mean, along with all of our weeknight offerings throughout the course of the campaign, if my maths served me well, considering we had 2 in the back half of last year, 4 hit-outs of Australian Open World Nationals, hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, all to be confirmed most notably, but if all goes to plan, 4 Australian Open World National hit-outs to look forward to this year as well, pitting the best of our SFL contingent up against the SRW SFL brigade, just as we did at Silverstone and Mugello last year. So a lot to look forward to this season for both Tin Shop and Open Wheel fans alike. Platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. And don't forget Liam Banks in here with Daniel Carrier Wednesday night, 7:40 Eastern Daylight Time. Daniel Carrier and I in here with you Thursday night. And I'm going to, because I'm not busy enough this year, join Joe Baldwin and Nick Fodiatis on Friday night for the hypercars as well. So Adam Lavis, obviously missing out on GT4 this campaign because they've been put on your broadcast night. What else are you going to have a double in this campaign, please?
Pretty much everything the other nights. Yeah, but this is one downside. I got back-to-back third places, so no 3-peat of 3s for me in the G4s, unfortunately.
No, unfortunately, but a solid effort from you all the same, and the tip of the hat to consistency.
Well, I still don't know how I got 3rd in that BMW last season. That's a miracle. As I said, yes, as I was saying,
there were a few of you very happy to see the back of that car, weren't there?
Well, as I was saying to you when we were doing a little mic test, I somehow got 3rd in the championship, but I was the 18th fastest guy. So it made no sense.
No, not at all. Oh dear, more break points on offer for Demonor at Melbourne Park as well, so it's about to be 4-1 potentially in the second set, and a one-way ticket to a Wednesday night quarter-final at Melbourne Park for the Demon.
We've got a bunch of one-on-one battles brewing up here.
Indeed we do. So, Dane Snowden and Daniel Benefield. The one that we're watching there is Nick Wood on the back of Tyson Broad. Good to see Wood in a Mustang this campaign. Tyson Broad in one of the new Acuras. And of course, if you're not familiar with the Acura, you soon will be, because it is now the 10th manufacturer available to us in Waste Options. GT3, look at this! Sean McLaughlin to the outside. To the inside goes Sam Chapman. Chapman to 7th. And McLaughlin trying to force the issue, but Chapo's got the momentum and swings around the outside. And Chapman holds on to 7th. Very nicely done. So, you've got McLaughlin trying to find his way back through there. That's Sean McLaughlin, of course, not to be mixed up with the other S. McLaughlin out there. Sam Chapman is just ahead of him. Tyson Broad's got Nick Wood all over him like a cheap suit. Andrew Dutch has Glenn Arnott for company. This battle on screen here is Richard Mitchum. Simon Mesamo at the front of it. Richard Mitchum in the middle and Louis Greathead behind. And that's the battle for 4th. But, as Adam Lavis has already highlighted for you, ladies and gentlemen, the mixture of strategies is what's going to be a compelling component of this final half of the opening race of the season. Remembering that there are 13 more races across 9 weeks coming your way. Sprint rounds coming up next 2 weeks. So by the time we get to week 4, we'll have already put 5 races in the books. And those 2 90-minute races headline a very top-heavy second half of the campaign. Just 1 sprint race and another 5 hours worth of running beyond that. The 2 90-minute races and the 2 60-minute affairs as well. Sebring and Daytona to finish it off. An American double. The only track that doubles up on a Monday night this term between the 2 calendars. There's no entree and main course at the same venue this term, but Road Atlanta is the only double-up circuit. Week 4 for GT4, week 6 for GT3. We're very excited about that.
So yeah, just to go on Daniel Snowden's comment, Glenn Arnott having a great night tonight, up to the 12th. He's hopefully Glenn, his biggest weakness is his consistency. He usually has a lot of pace, but he has some. Oh, we've got Daniel Snowden. Oh, that was close. So battle for second. But yeah, so we've seen a lot. I've seen Glenn Arnott's had plenty of little glimpses of hot pace to keep him up and grow, and sometimes he's like right up there, but gets caught up in either other people's mischief or makes some mistakes. So good to see tonight. He's put it aside and on the cusp of top 10. So hopefully he keeps it up.
Don't forget too, folks, great to see. Glenn Arnott's been a mainstay regular in our club for a while now. Good to see him actually bagging some good results and making some inroads. Although a little bit long on the Jack's last stop around 24.05, that may cost him.
Yeah, that'd be him getting all 4 tyres done and dusted.
Yeah.
But he's done that. He sacrificed a bit of time because obviously you basically you're sitting on Jack's not taking fuel for a while, so you're wasting a bit of time there. So the more optimal strategy is to take 2 tyres in one stop and 2 in the other, but that also involves splitting your fuel a little bit evenly.
3-2 with just the 1 break for Alex de Minaur in the second set at Melbourne Park, having won the first 6 love. Cricket and tennis every night this week. The only exception being Sunday, it's just tennis. And of course, the Big Bash final next Monday night as part of our Around the Grounds update on Monday Night Motorsport. So a lot to look forward to as the summer sports start to wind down. Of course, Women's Ashes, Australia against Sri Lanka, still to come before we get to the footy season starting up in early March. And of course, all the big motorsport events will fire into life come that opening weekend of March as well, with the tyre round of MotoGP. Back on board with Nick Wood would go. Nice touch of yellow on his car as well. Maybe everybody got the memo that I'm going to pay more attention to the yellow cars. Here's Daniel Benefield under pressure from Dane Snowden.
Pretty sure Nick has probably gone to bed, but it almost feels like he's in the ear of Sharpie, because Sharpie's chosen to be the first bit last, one of Nick's favourite sayings.
Exactly. Daniel Benefield is dragging the train along here, but the problem they've got is they've dropped 13 seconds to Denchi. I mean, yes, Denchi has a bit of an invoice to pay on the second stop.
But not 13 seconds worth.
Daniel Benefield.
Oh, Snowden!
Whoa! Sliding down the inside! The up and under, Snowden have come together, Benefield and Snowden! And Mesamo is going to be the beneficiary of that! And so too Richard Mitchum! And Snowden drops from second to fifth. Great heads up on his outside as well. There was definite contact between those two cars. And all the meanwhile, that helps Denchi out even more. It's interesting. Denchi has no invoice to pay to Benefield or Mesmo. They both short field as well. So the fact, and Richard Mitchum the same. Dane Snadden's the only one that's gone long with his pit stop first time round. So therefore, that's the real comparative indicator we've got here. So Snadden, if he has a short stop this time round compared to Dench, he might be the beneficiary and pick up a few seconds. He might be able to leapfrog these blokes again, Mitchum, Mesmo and Benefield. So he's still very much in the fight. But no one is catching Denchi. He's in a completely different postcode. The price is price.
Yeah, I wonder if Snadden's got anyone in his ear letting him know about that, because he may not realise he had that fuel advantage, and that's why he's attacking so hard on Benefield, whereas he could have sort of sat behind just a little bit longer and to take his stop and gain the undercut straight away. So it was a good move attempt, just ran it a little wide on the apex and opened that door, and Benny went straight for it, and they've merged in the middle, and luckily they've both got going relatively okay, but Dane has lost some track position as a result, so not ideal for either of them.
England have recovered all right. Still the fourth over of the match. They're 2 for 42 after 1 point being 2 for 4. So the Poms are still in that match at the Sydney Cricket Ground, but if they lose it, Australia retain the women's Ashes. 39 minutes gone, make it 40, so there's 2/3 race distance for you now. So all of a sudden, eyes go to pit lane once more, and Sean McLaughlin is in, right on cue. So we've already seen David Johnson, Dale Sharp, who, of course, Adam Lavis has already mentioned, and Jackson Dale come to pit lane for their top up to get the flag. They've ticked that box. Corey Bennett's also showing a lap down. He too has pitted twice now. Retirements include Russ Green, Aaron Cooper, also Jermaine Tackler and Ben Woods, who lost very early in the piece. Unfortunate for Woodsy after qualifying on pole position. Dench, Benefield, Mesmo, Mitchum, Snadden. How much does this order get shaken and stirred between now and the checkered flag? I don't think anyone touches Matty Dench with the barge pole here. He's not being caught. Unfortunately for Ben, it's 41 degrees in that room of his. Lost concentration and that small snap, the debris, and the rest is history, as they say. And he's not sure why Jermaine didn't observe the yellow flags either. So maybe that's Ben's way of saying Jermaine only has himself to blame for being caught up inadvertently in that incident. But thank you, mate, for touching base with us and saying g'day. Jeff Adams asking for a replay. I'm sure Adam Lavis will be onto that for us very shortly, but not just yet, Adam, please. I want to keep an eye on this because there's a few games about to be played here, and Simon Mesmo's right where Daniel Benefield wants him to be, although he's opened the door and let him through. Mesmo has gone to second.
Well, it'd be
Benefield opens the door and lets Mesmo go.
There'd be two faults here. Benny will realise he's got a little bit of damage, so he's a little slow. He's also got a potential penalty. So his best bet is to let Mez get a bit of a run and maybe just try and hold these other guys up and give Mez a little bit of a chance to break a gap. Maybe it's playing the team card.
Andrew Dutch and Connor Nixon also on the pit lane that time around. So to Sebastian Prostimo and Dave Riddell. Now, we do have a bit of a report coming through from the Pro-Am split, so disregard that. Good on you, Benny. We'll catch up with you later in the week, mate. Hard luck first up for the year term, but well done on the pole position. Good pace, and looking forward to seeing what you can do with that going forward in the next few weeks. Of course, his pace in the Porsche at the end of at the start and end of last term in 2024 was seriously impressive. Testament to the hard work that he's been putting in behind the scenes, of course. Now, there's a lot of admiration from the standpoint of those of us that work internally and those of us that watch on externally. The amount of work that goes on these guys to do what they do, to hone their craft, and Benny's one of those guys that's a shining example of hard work paying off. Now, fair bit of pit activity here because Simon Mesmo and Richard Mitchum have come in. So Daniel Benefield's let Massimo buy just to buy maybe a tenth or two of car space. Here's the incident for Benny Woods again. This is going back to lap 8 of proceedings here, or lap 7 actually. And the rejoin, you're going to see him get loose on the debris that he's dragging along with him there. Now, at that point, he's a sitting duck because he's letting everybody work their way on by before he comes through. He's trying to rejoin there. He had a small gap in the road. And Takaloo's come through at full tilt and cleaned him up. He wasn't the only one. So, the game's at start. Nesimo's rejoined in 11th. Under pressure from Foster and in behind Mitchum. Those Entropy Sim Sport. Is that a new name?
Entropy, yeah. It's that's the 2G4 guys have rebranded.
Okay, gotcha. Wasn't there rumour of another merger unfolding over the off season?
Yeah, I think
nothing on of that.
As far as I can tell, yeah, there was a talk of Frog Leap and Whiskey having a merge, but they still seem to be separate. So there's a lot of that going through.
Okay, we'll have to get the.
Dench is in?
Yes, Matty Dench is in at the end of lap 27, and we are 15 and a half minutes from home. We'll have to get the Minister of Whiskey Business Racing, the General Manager, El Presidente, the head honcho of the operation, Greg Heaney, to come in and explain what's unfolded there or what hasn't unfolded, more to the point, at one point later in the week. Dane Snadden, Louis Greathead, Sam Chapman go on for the moment, but remember, they still have a second stop. Daniel Benefield has followed Matty Dench in. This is now an example or an indication of who fueled long and who went short on that previous round of stops. It's an indicator as to who's going to come into pit lane and who isn't at what point during this stint. And in order to just top up and tick the box to get them to the checkered flag. We've been saying that for a while, Daniel. We've been even talking about giving him a ton of success ballast. Oh dear. I don't know what the trick is to just putting the anchor on Dench at the moment. It is just extraordinary what he's able to do with the motor car, even in the virtual world. I mean, what he is able to do here and how he's just able to convert that form car to car. Even cars that he's not necessarily fond of, like when he rock and rolled in the Ford GT at Road America, for instance, before the Mustang was even a thing in GT3. There's a reason we refer to him as the Denchmark, and this is it. I mean, he's out there at the moment sitting 6th, but he's the best placed by a long shot of anyone that's stopped twice, and he's not too far off the tail of Nick Wood here. We're watching Dane Snadden lead this race from Louis Greathead and Sam Chapman and Tyson Broad and Nick Wood. Then Matt Dench in 6th, Richard King, Jake Slade, Richard Mitchell, and Daniel Benefield make up the top 10. Broad and Wood to pit lane.
And if he hasn't already, that's achievement unlocked for Snaddo, leading a lap in the GT3 Pros.
Good boy. Good boy. I'm not sure if there's a bottle of whiskey in that, in the same way that there is for winning championships.
I'm sure.
Jackson Dale and Lithway, but I'm sure he'll be asking the question.
I'm sure for the sake of Heaney's wallet, there'll be a little bit more of a hoop to jump through to get the whiskies.
Yeah. And I agree with Tommy Wilkinson. It is terrific watching Denchi do what he does. And as Daniel and many others know, it actually it's incentive for everybody else to continue chipping away at it and working on their game and honing their craft. The master hasn't been dethroned yet, but the competitive level within this club has come on leaps and bounds in recent seasons, and we thank people like Matty Dench and their ongoing, involvement and benchmark setting for increasing the competitiveness, the professionalism, the overall quality of the product that we offer 4 nights a week here on the platforms of GSRC. Great to have you on board.
Here's the scary thing: is even though we know Dane's got a pretty short stop coming up, Dench is only 8.5 seconds behind him.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. And Denchi's last stop, by the way, was only 12.73 seconds. So, I mean...
So he's done 2 short because he's a 13 and a 12, so he's only done 25 seconds worth of stopping.
So that's bugger all in the grand scheme of things, isn't it? And that might just be a little case of Denchi's done his homework, and Denchi knows his numbers, and he knows that you've given him a little bit more of a tank to play with as well. So he's working within those parameters and doing so better than anybody at the moment.
It also shows the the penalty that Glenart took by taking the tyres and doing the 24-second stop in 1 stop. His 1 stop is only 1 second slower than Denchi's 2 stops.
Yeah. Has not paid off, unfortunately. Chiplin and Wright to pit lane this time by. So far, what we can tell you with 11 1/4 minutes on the clock, ladies and gentlemen, is that Snadden, Greathead, King, Foster, Hayne, all yet to stop a second time. And so too Craig Schultz. Apart from them, a half dozen, the field is closed. Unfortunately, can you have a look at what happened to Jackson Dale, please?
Have a look.
Because Jackson Dale's parked up and he's out of business. He's done. I think it might be a packet loss, as it's showing off the racetrack at 26.5 laps, and that's after stopping on lap 23. So it looks as though he's succumbed to packet loss. A network dropout. Another mechanical issue of the SimWalk. Internet cooperation, and I know what that's all about. Mine leaves a lot to be desired sometimes. When I can sit downstairs and have perfect internet access on the phone, but the Foxtel box connected to the same modem, I might add, won't give me anything. We are a first world country with third world internet. I've said it 1,000 times on this platform. There's another one ticked off your bingo sheet, ladies and gentlemen. There's also been a daylight saving reference. There's also been a few others.
Yeah, it's probably because there's no incidents or anything, but there's all of a sudden just 7 or 8 cars just past Jackson Dale for no reason. So.
All right, in comes Benefield and hang on. Daniel Benefield is in pit lane. Daniel Benefield is in pit lane.
Yeah, he's only on 1 stop.
No, that's pit stop number 3 for Benefield. That is pit stop number 3 for Daniel Benefield. Is this a...
Oh.
No, it's not a drive-through. This is not scheduled for him. Daniel Benefield is going to park up and be out of it.
He's missing again as well. Yeah, something's going on there.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Can you believe this? Jackson's iRacing froze. Thank you to the informant there at Dial headquarters. I'm going to assume. Oh no, actually, Kunai Zero, that's Daniel Correa, isn't it? Isn't that what he used to run under?
No, I think that's... I think it might be Daniel.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate the heads up. Look forward to having your company on Thursday night. Wowee. So the attrition rate continues to climb. Daniel Benefield, the latest retirement. Corey Bennett's about to move up into 26th position, still 1 position out of the points, but there's still time for that to change. Down the inside goes Dave Riddell, bowls it wide. Here we go. Can he hold on to it? Yes, he can. That's for 18th. He's got Sebastian Prostimo right there on his clucker, and Prostimo down the inside, contacted, gone.
Nice save, bud.
There goes Dave Riddell into the grass. Good save, but again, he's going to have real dirty scrubby tyres to contend with for the next couple of corners. So Prostimo, he
redressed it.
Ticked the box there. As far as regulations are concerned, he's redressed it. That's fine. The beneficiary in all of that, both Adam Chiplin and Jonathan Hooper. Hooper up to 18, Chiplin to 19, and these two now fighting for the last spot in the 20. I'd like to know the same thing. Like Bergen Savage, I'd like to know the same thing. That was masterful skill from Dave Riddell, or just a tremendous amount of bloody luck. I'm not sure which one. Have a look at this. Here's the contact. Prostimo down the inside. Yep, there he goes. Whoa, drift work. 10 points for that. So, McLaren drift. How good.
He definitely wouldn't have done that in the Merc. The Merc's got no steering lock. So, McLaren must have a little bit more steering lock to get the drifting done.
That is
Leaders are in.
That is marvellous. It could have been a race-ending moment for Dave Riddell. Instead, he's still in the fight, and he's in 20th. Still holding off Prostimo, still trying to get by Adam Chiplin. And commendments coming in left, right and centre for Dave Riddell for that save right now. Meanwhile, where are we on the clock? As Dane Snadden comes back out onto the racetrack in second. And Thomas Foster is also on pit lane. Louis Greathead follows Snadden out. Snadden and Greathead only stopping for 8 seconds apiece. But the lead for Dench is still 16 seconds. Isn't that bloody ridiculous? 16 seconds. And everybody's done 2 stops. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Mitchum, Chapman, Broad, Wood, McLaughlin, Dutch and King, the top 10.
We are cleansed by the look of it, I believe, unless someone snuck through with a drive-through of some sort.
Copy that. Mesimo dropped a long way back. Yeah, he had, we think he had a packet loss issue. So I think both the 9.5 boys have had an issue there on that front. Let's have a look, actually. Simon Mesimo, 14.7. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense that he dropped that much, but we'll have to have a look at it. Now,
No, he went to the pits on his own. Oh, hang on.
oh, sorry, my apologies. Yeah, it was Jackson Dole who had the packet loss. Benefield and Dole with the issues there. Benefield on pit lane parked up and he's done, but Dole with the packet loss issue. And Mesmo, I'm not sure.
So he has chosen to go the second time. So I'm wondering if he... Let's have a look at this.
Not a fair reflection of the pace that he had on board that thing tonight either, Matt Porsche.
So if he touched the inside green, bad, which he hasn't done.
No. He almost got the outside grass.
No, I'm not sure.
It should be fine, but yeah, it's an interesting one. Something we have missed. Obviously, McNamara has picked up on that because he's got vested interest with the 9.5 stable. He, of course, being the head honcho there. And there is Tyson Broad in 6th place. So, in all of that, Adam, we're going to finish with 3 manufacturers in the top 10. We're going to have, at this point in time, we've got 4 Mustangs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Acuras, and just the lone Porsche of Dane Snadden there in 2nd place. Dane up 4 spots, Sam Chapman up 8, Andrew Dutch up 10, 11 for Tom Foster, 12 for Dale Sharp and Connor Nixon, Adam Chiplin, the clubhouse leader as far as positions gained are concerned, up 13. The retirements include Benefield, Dial, Green, Cooper, Takaloo and Woods. Benefield down 20, Takaloo down 15 and Woods down 31. The big losers in the opening round. The good news for them, they can only go up. The bad news is they've got 9 weeks left in which they've only got 1 drop round available at their disposal. So it's a double-edged sword, that one. Just having a look at it here, lap 34, lap 35, Denchi's just started, and he started it within the window to get an extra lap, so, and well and truly, so he needed probably 3 minutes 12 on the clock. He got there with more than 3.5, so it is 3 laps. It is 37 that we're going to tonight, folks, and again, that's testament to the pace of Matty Dench. It's just extraordinary what this guy's able to do with a motor car. And continuously as well. And in the meanwhile, watch Andrew Dutch fighting with Sean McLaughlin over 8th position right now. That's the only battle with inside the top 10 that is alive and active with 3 laps to go. 2.5 now for Denchi. And either of those guys are going to hope they don't have a packet loss issue right here and now either. Alex Demonor serving for the 2nd set at Melbourne Park as well. And he is 2 points away from that 2nd set, 5-4. So credit to Mickelson. He's actually done well to get back in the contest after being bagged in the 1st set. In the meantime, here comes Dutch. He got a good run off the top of the hill. This is one of the key overtaking opportunities at the circuit. And Sean McLaughlin was well aware of that and alert to it. And the threat posed by Dutch. And he closed the door and defended nicely through the corner and then on the exit of it as well. Very nicely done. Dutch in 9th place, chasing McLaughlin. Richard King under pressure from Simon Mesmo for the final spot of the top 10. It would be a consolation prize for the 9-5 stable, having lost Daniel Benefield, the best hope in the Ferrari, of course. And also an issue somewhere along the line for Simon Mesmo, still none the wiser as to what that was. And this is an opportunity now for Mesmo to get back in the 10. It's an opportunity for Andrew Dutch to find away by Sean McLaughlin and HTS Racing. To the final corner. 2 laps to go. Denching's on his way home. 58.5 minutes of racing, and still the best to come. McLaughlin and Dutch, King at Mesmo, the top 12, or 11 actually, but they are fighting for 8th and 10th right now. Beyond that, know that Corey Bennett's going to bring this field home in 26th position. A couple of real defining incidents here to review as the night unfolds in our post-race show. And now look at this. Here's an opportunity for Mesmo to the outside. Oh, you very rarely get away with it down there. On the outside. It all hinges on the run down the hill. And look at the door being slammed firmly shut. It's left wide open all of a sudden. Richard King has left the door open for Mesmo. And Mesmo accepts the invitation, but now has to fight around the outside through this middle section of the circuit. And King is up to the challenge. Mesmo deep under brakes. Is it too deep? Maybe so. King still holding on. Mesmo not done with yet. Diving down the inside. No, he backs out of it. King's okay for the moment, but now he's running wide.
Big on the marbles.
Position to Mesmo instead.
Yeah, King just got those marbles on the out of that part of that corner, and there's something that drifted him wide, and Mez got a bit of a run.
Wowie. White flag in the air. Denching's on his way home. It's 16 2/3 of a second, the advantage over Dane Snadden, but we cannot take our eyes off this. The battle for 10th. And Jake Slade trying to latch onto the back of it as well to provide the sting in the tail. A 3-way fight for 10th on the final lap of the rest. Here we go. By the way, Nicholson just broke Demonor. It's back on serve at 5-all in the second set, so that's not done yet either. You can continue watching that on the wide world of sports as soon as we're done here. In the meantime, Richard King is all over the back of Simon Mesmo, trying to get back into the top 10, having sat there for much of the night.
It's also heating up on the back of the top 20 as well.
Battles everywhere at the moment, but not at the front where they need to be, really, to be honest. It's Chiplin, Prostimo and Hayne all over the back of Riddell like a cheap suit in the battle for 18th. King down the inside, no, not close enough. Mesmo slams the door shut. In the meantime, get your hands out and smash them together, ladies and gentlemen. 6 weeks off, but you wouldn't know if your name was Matthew Dench, because that was as clinical as it's ever been in his first full-time outing in the Mustang, and he gets the job done in round 1 of Waste Options GT3 at Jerez in Spain, and Dane Snadden's going to hold off Louis Greathead for second. What a magnificent performance for the Porsche pilot for Whiskey Business Racing, and Greathead in third. Mitchum Chapman make up the top 5. Oh, hang on, Tyson Broad and Sam Chapman have swapped around as well on the final lap, and here's Sean McLaughlin in 8th. Down the main straight. Broad goes 5th, Chapman 6th, Wood holds off McLaughlin and Dutch, and then Mesmo holds off King and Slade. Oh boy, how about that? Winning margin 16.68 seconds for Matty Dench. That is a statement-making performance after a 6-week break. Remembering it was Monday the 2nd of December when he put the full stop on title number 12. We came back and did a couple of events, did a bit of overtime after that, but Denchy put the full stop on his championship on the 2nd of December. So what's that? That's 7 weeks between outings. And it's as though he hasn't been out of the cockpit once in that time. That is extraordinary. And it's also a real daunting prospect for the rest of the pack to try and reel him in some way, shape or form in the next 9 weeks. But we know, Adam Lavis, as we have a look at the results there, and I'll run through them in a moment, we know that the sprint races that are coming up, particularly next week and the one after, and we'll worry about the 2 that follow beyond that later, but particularly the next 2 weeks, the sprint races have been an Achilles heel for Matty Dench in previous times. They have tripped him up. They have been moments in which the field have been able to just reel him in ever so slightly. He didn't have that bad luck last term. He'll be hoping that he can avoid a run of bad luck in those sprint races this term, and if he can, well, he could have it wrapped up by week 8.
Yeah, he's the benchmark of GT3 is still happening. It's gonna be the thing is gonna be interesting on Thursdays if he does show up for a couple of cameos in the Porsche Cup. He's back to his normal number of 183, which we hardly ever see. So that's going to be very interesting for you guys in the commentary box, seeing a different number in his car.
Yes, well, this is very true as well. Absolutely very true. There are the results for you, ladies and gentlemen. Tyson Broad's going to jump in and have a chat to us in a moment. We'll wait and see who else graces us with their presence. But Matty Dench, too good in the end. Dane Snadden, 16.68. The winning margin. It says 16.7 on your screen there. Really great head in for third. It was 3 different manufacturers in the top 3. It was Ford, Porsche, and Acura. There were 4 Fords, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 Fords, 4 Acuras, and 2 Porsches in the top 10. Simon Mesimo scraping in there at the end. Brought in for 5th behind Mitchum. Chapman was 6th. So a solid performance for him tonight across the 2 GT offerings. Nick Wood, Sean McLaughlin, Andrew Dutch, and Simon Mesimo, the top 10 over the page. Of course, we've got Craig Bond and Kurt Normanton about to jump in and have a chat to us as well here. But it was Richard King, Jake Slade, Glenn Arnott, Thomas Foster, the first of the Ferraris in 14th, Dale Sharp, the first of the McLarens in 15th. After their dominance last term, they've been brought back to reality a little bit, haven't they? And then, of course, Connor Dixon, Jonathan Hooper, Dave Riddell, Adam Chiplin, and Sebastian Prostimo. Then David Hayne, John Wright, David Johnson, Todd Hayne, Craig Schultz. The end of the point scorers there. Corey Bennett finished a lap down. Daniel Betterfield was the first of the retirements in the end. And because he exited the server, he would have been classified on 75% otherwise, but it doesn't matter because he was out of the points anyway. Jackson Dial, also a retirement packet loss issue there. Russ Green, Aaron Cooper, Jermaine Takaloo, Benny Woods, and Andrew Neal, with Kevin Henderson in race control. So Benny Woods, the tail of the tape there from hero to zero, unfortunately, from first on the grid all the way back down to 32nd. He was the first of the retirements in the end. He did set the fastest lap of the race, though. That 1:36.738 was not betted by anybody, including the Dench mark, which is a little bit of a surprise. So Benny Woods, the fastest lap, despite the fact that he doesn't net a result in any way, shape or form. But he does get the bonus points for pole position. And, provided that he can buy a little bit more luck and have a better run in the weeks ahead, he might just be the bloke to take it to Denchi throughout the course of this campaign. But Denchi, oh boy, that was something else. 16.7 seconds to the good. Craig Bond's here, Kurt Normanson's here. Go to Tyson Broad. It's 2 minutes to 10 Eastern Daylight Time. Tyson, I'm coming to you in a moment. Bondy, firstly, well done on your performance in GT4, my friend.
Was it really that good? Yeah. Is it really that good of a performance in GT4s, though?
Well, you finished, didn't you?
Yeah, what was it, 17th or something?
Yeah, but let's look at the small wins here. Didn't you start outside the top 20?
21, 24?
24, I think it was. So look at the positives, my friend. You moved forward. There were some people that weren't able to do that, and Winton's not exactly the world's greatest place for overtaking. So the fact that you're able to do that, mate, that's a box ticked, and a little haul of points to work with. Unfortunately, not so much luck for Nick.
He just rage quit from both of the races, so... Just
throw him under the bus, why don't you?
He's doing liveries, so...
Don't worry, I'm more than okay with you throwing him under the bus, as long as you're not throwing me under the bus. I'm happy with that. Hey, listen, let me straighten up here. Let me ask you about a couple of things. One, Adam Lavis, I think it was, mentioned something about liveries earlier in the night. Did you actually get on top of that and find the right livery?
What, the
GT4?
Yeah, we never ended up doing the spec maps or anything yet.
Adam Lavis mentioned that was a little bit more white in your on your paintbrush this time round.
Yeah, we're trying the white on that, and then we're going to trial that on the Mustang for Wednesday night. So I think, but we'll see how that one goes, if we run the black or not.
Fair enough. And that actually, that's a fair point as well. You are running the Mustang on Wednesday night in the supercar. What else are you going to have a crack at this term, please?
Friday night GTPs if I'm not away karting or anything.
Yep.
Thursday nights, both of them. Wednesday supercars, and then the Mondays double duties and Saturday mountain men if I'm available.
And any truth to the rumour that the reason you're doubling up on Thursday night and running on Friday night is because I'm commentating?
Kinda.
Yeah, exactly.
I was doing Thursday anyways.
I'll take that as an endorsement. Now, I got a couple of other guys obviously standing by to have a chat with us here, mate. But quickly before I let you go, let us know. Talk me through how, because obviously we've just watched the pro split. How did GT3 go for you? Talk me through your race.
I think I started like 11th or 12th and finished 5th.
Good boy. How big was the field?
21 entered it.
And that's in AM?
Yeah.
Yep.
We're not going to talk about the oops there, mate. Registering for the wrong practice server in GT3s beforehand, though.
Yes. I was going to say there were very many entries trying to get into GT3 Pro Am, I understand.
Well, I kind of made an oops and clicked that instead because I just saw AM. So. Oh no. Well, at least you got on track in the end. At least you got out there. Hey, a top 5 result. That's a good way to start the campaign. Yeah, well, I don't know if we've made the right decision on the car though. But
what'd you go with?
The Ferrari for this term.
Okay.
We'll see how that turns out for the rest of the term if it gets any better. Maybe playing with setups will help, but who knows.
Can I refer you to my commentary colleague, Daniel Benefield, for advice on the Ferrari?
Oh, depends. If you really want it.
I wouldn't talk to him about it tonight, though, because he's retired tonight, so he probably won't be too happy about it, but that's another story. Reach out to him, he might be able to give you some pointers with it, because we know he's very fond of that car. Anyway, mate, I'm going to let you go shortly, because I know you're busy, and I know you've got school, you've got holidays and other things happening, and you've been away all weekend racing, and then you ran the 24. I don't know how you're still awake, that you got school just around the corner as well, but before I do let you go, Okayama for GT4 next week, and also then of course we go to Suzuka, so an all Japan double next Monday night. What are your thoughts on those?
Haven't driven Suzuka yet, but there'll be practice for the 1000k in November, I think it is.
Can't go any worse than our Formula 1 exploits around the track.
Well, could. It is now after all driving.
Oh dear, very good, very good. And Okayama?
That was pretty fun in Formula V's when I did it, so I should be fine. I hope.
All right, very nicely done. Hey, well done. I'm going to let you go. Anyone you want to thank on the way out?
Not what I know of.
Copy. See ya. Have fun. Thank you, Craig.
Right out. Yeah.
Well done. There he is. Craig Bond from the beautiful part of the world that is Gundy Guy, ladies and gentlemen. I'll have a chat with you offline, mate. Thank you for that. Kurt Normanson's here, but I want to go to Tyson Broad before I go to him because Tyson was here first. I'm just in force of habit, Tyson, of getting rid of the school kids early, even though school isn't back yet. However, great to see you on the grid. Great to see you in the Acura. You were the second Acura home, only behind Louis Greathead, who we're going to hear from very shortly. But I think the big news that we need to somewhat address here, and you might want to do it for us until the Denchmark graces us with his presence, is a bit of a merger over the off-season. Orbit and Drop Bear, what's going on here, please?
Yeah, this is something that came into effect for the last season of the GSRC. Basically, we'd had a partnership going for about 18 months or so prior, with, you know, just Orbit typically being a Euro/American team, and then Drop Bear obviously being full Australians. It made sense to sort of just combine our efforts for endurance races and that. That's how it started, but then we sort of found it difficult to try and get guys on board because we had two different teams and all that, so we just decided to merge into one entity, and then just go from there. Obviously my car tonight was looking a bit bare, and if you'd seen around, you would have seen that we got a new painter on board in iLiveries, so, and we announced the new paints that we were running last week. Unfortunately, we haven't quite got round to doing the Acura yet. In fact, we've only got, I think, about 4 cars done at the minute. So, yeah, it's going to take a little while to get all the cars done. So, yeah, but no, the new paint job will look really good when it's there.
Now, on that subject, talk me through, because obviously there's a lot to be excited about this season. One, seeing that paint scheme is going to be a particular interest in the next couple of weeks. But secondly, the Acura's on the grid. We've got a 10th manufacturer in the fold. You were the second Acura home. What do you make of that car, and what twisted your arm to kind of go with that as opposed to any of the other manufacturers that have been prominent in recent times, namely the McLaren and also, of course, the Porsche, and tonight particularly the Mustang?
Well, I'll get the Mustang out of the way. I don't like Ford, so that's sort of the easiest one to get rid of. And I guess just sort of just hopped in and just thought, why not? You know, in these kind of things, I'm not too fussed about it. Probably not going to see me a lot in GTs, but still, it's nice to just hop in and have a bang. And yeah, if I realised that at the first stop I needed to take tyres, I probably would have been a bit closer to 3rd and 4th by the end.
Indeed. And of course, there was a little bit of argy-bargy involved in that race. Obviously disappointing that Danny Woods succumbed early in the piece. We had a couple of packet loss issues. But to be fair, you were lucky in the sense that you were able to avoid most of that trouble, mate, as you say, to work your way from 12th on the grid into 5th. Okay, maybe not necessarily what you were hoping for, but still a big box ticked, especially if you're only going to be making the odd cameo appearance here and there. Yeah,
definitely. It's always good just to see that, you know, I can still drive these things. I'm not just a supercar Billy nowadays. But yeah, it's nice to get a decent result on the board. It just helps with confidence.
Indeed. Now, on the subject, you mentioned supercars. How excited are you to have Gen 3 on the GSRC platforms come Wednesday night, please?
Well, I am excited and also a little disappointed because it's still on the Wednesday night, and that means that I and a couple others that are in the team, if we do decide to do Gen 3 GSRC, means that we're going to miss about 4 weeks of competition. Yes. Due to Logitech qualifying series, if we can get past pre-qualifying, which starts tomorrow.
I was going to say, the registrations have been through the roof for that, haven't they? In excess of, I think it was 130 last look. How nervous are you guys? How excited are you to get out there and finally get stuck into pre-qualifying and just rip the Band-Aid off?
We're actually quite looking forward to it. We think we got a good car underneath us for that, so yeah, we'll see where we end up. yeah, obviously just going to try and put time on the board for that one, and then we can focus on the racing side of it.
Indeed, and of course, even though it'll be competing against our broadcast, that pre-qualifying series, of course, coming up right throughout the month of February for those guys. So we wish everybody in pre-qualifying the very best of luck with that, and everybody that ends up competing in that series to then try and buy their place on the grid for the big dance, the series that kicks off in March, of course. We wish them all the very best of luck with that. Anything else you're going to try your hand at this season?
Might give GDPs a bit of a go throughout the course of the season. And then, yeah, I don't know, maybe have a bang in the trucks every once in a while. But, yeah, nah, just take it as it comes, see what happens.
Indeed, mate. Hey, talk to me about GT3. What would sort of twist your arm to have a bit more of a play here?
To be honest, I don't know much. I think it would just be more me doing officials throughout the week, which is something that I don't normally do too much anymore. So yeah, it's just, I guess, would be if I could grind out officials for a particular week, then maybe I do a couple more.
All right, very nicely done. Thoughts on the Jerez circuit? I mean, it's relatively new in iRacing circles. We very rarely visit the venue, but it threw up some pretty good action tonight.
Yeah, I don't know about the circuit. It's one I don't like and hate. It's sort of very in the middle.
You're on the fence.
Yeah, definitely interesting. I think it suits more high horsepower, high downforce cars as opposed to sort of these GTs where it's a bit too heavy and for this particular track. So yeah, I think if we had the GTPs here, it'd probably work a bit better. And it's a little bit unfortunate that we don't have motorbikes in iRacing as of yet.
That's very true. Give it time, though. I'm sure it's an avenue they'd love to explore somewhere down the line. Could you imagine? Wouldn't that just open up a tremendous amount of opportunities? That'd be endless. Well done, mate. I'm going to let you go on that note. Hard to believe that the 6-week break has been gone, come and went, but it's as though no time has passed at all. We've had a lot of fun tonight, and it just fuels the fire for the rest of the season, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And just before I head off, I want to say thanks to our team partners, as I mentioned, iLiveries, for coming on board and doing our paints and making them look really good. And Revolution Race Gear as well for giving us support for 2025. And as well, all members of the team, including, as you might have seen, the race winner tonight, Matt Dench, who's joined us. And obviously Connor for having a spin tonight as well. Can't forget him. Yeah, obviously all the drivers tonight for a good race, and GSRC putting on the event and broadcast.
Just one more thing, because you've mentioned him now as well, and I mentioned him earlier. Just give, for the benefit of the audience at home that might not appreciate it, what does that do to a stable like yours in terms of morale, expertise, insights, the little 1%ers? What does it do to the environment, the camaraderie within that stable to have someone of Dench's caliber on board?
Yeah, I mean, we have a few top-line guys at the minute. We've got 2 guys in the GTP in the IVRA Endurance Series, which is one of iRacing's biggest endurance series out there. So yeah, but having someone like Dench who is rapid in GTs truly puts us in good stead to cover a lot of the stuff going on in iRacing in terms of special events and that. And yeah, also just another helping hand, I guess.
Indeed. All right, mate. Hey, well done tonight. Look forward to seeing you on the grid when the opportunity presents itself on a Monday night throughout the course of the season, and no doubt we'll be keeping an eye on your exploits when you're there on a Wednesday night as well. Go well.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
There he is, Tyson Broad. Sam Chapman's here for the first time this season. Louis Greathead too, and those magnificent men from the Whiskey Business Racing Stable, Greg Heaney, and also he's Kingpin tonight in Dane Snadden, and Kurt Nollinson's here too. Results from the cricket coming up, so to Pro-Am and Am, but in the meantime, I don't mind telling you that Alex Demonor won that tiebreaker that he was forced to by Alex Mickelson to the tune of 7 points to 5. So therefore, the first 2 sets have gone his way. 6-love, 7-6. He leads the match by 2 sets to love. Just now needs one more set in his bag to book a spot in the quarterfinals at Melbourne Park. Results from Pro-Am right now for you on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. And another new name there on top at the timesheets in Alex Wilson. Got the job done to the tune of 5 seconds over Luke Swan, Bobby Camo, and Ricky Hyde. Andrew Scordilis, Sean Benici from Alaska, Neil De Bruin, Alan Dawson, Adam Proctor, and Adam Hennessy, the top 10. So already evidence of just how many new members have lined up on the grid night 1 of the new term. And the grid in total, Adam, if we want to scroll down there, just have a look at this, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to get into the 5s here. Have a look at it. Have a look at that. Wow. So there were a couple of non-starters, unfortunately, but 47 starters on that grid. That is extraordinary. And we were right on the money with regards to the bingo numbers tonight. We said about 35, 36. Those guys got to 36. Our boys got to 37. And you can thank the benchmark pace setter for that. We'll get the AM split results for you in just a moment as well. In the meantime, I want to go to Louis Greathead. And first question for you, mate, obviously, apart from saying well done on the podium finish, is to get your impressions on the newest car in the fold, the Acura.
Oh, I don't think you want to know what I think about it.
Well, I wouldn't have asked if I didn't, Louis.
Nah, it's all right. Obviously, just did a little laps in the BMW for the Daytona 24, so just used to that. Like, we had a pretty rapid set for that. So you just used to everything with that car, and then jumped in the NSX, and just things are just a little bit different. So just getting used to it.
Oh boy, here we go. Have a look right at screen, ladies and gentlemen. There's some friendly fire being thrown. There's some friendly fire being thrown between Jermaine Takalo and Benny Woods. That's going to keep us interested for the next short while. If you're over on the YouTube feed, enjoy that. Talk me through the challenges associated with getting your head around that Acura shortly after, obviously spending much of the last week preparing for and running a completely different car on a completely different track.
Yeah, well, obviously we had the BMW pretty trimmed out. It's obviously top line speed for Daytona, and it's obviously just a very, very different car to drive. My driving style usually prefers some front-engined understeery boats like the BMW, the Ford kind of thing. But yeah, the NSX it's just different. It's just different. It's got different characteristics, how it likes to handle the gear ratio. So once I just was not shredding the tires, I was overheating pretty much everything in the car, every tire possible on that car during the race. So once I sort of sorted that out for a little bit, then the pace started to come back towards the end, but lesson learned on to the next one.
All right. Alex Wilson, 17-year-old from Queensland from Full Sem Motorsport, just being mentioned there by Race with Bob, and I think Race with Bob from memory is Bobby Camos. So good evening to you as well. Louis, still, I mean, with everything said, it's third. It's a podium finish. Yes, Denchi's in a different postcode, but we've come to expect that. But you kept Dane Snadden honest. Yeah,
Dane was the quicker car between me and him. Tonight he was really, really quick. Looks like the tires held on, and the pace was there. So all credit to him. I knew pretty much before the first set of stops that I was going to be struggling to get P2, just with the pace and the tires and everything. But yeah, it was a good race.
Indeed. Now, as far as the rest of it's concerned, are you a fan of the new rule that's been brought in, compulsory pit stops?
Yeah, it adds an interesting strategy to it. I do a lot of the strategy stuff with the Vermilion boys with all the Logi series, so 2 CPS isn't unfamiliar territory. It does add a different element to it for sure. So yeah, I'm all for it.
I'm just warming up into getting Sam Chapman's thoughts on it in a few moments' time, Louis. So thanks for going along with me on that. Your thoughts on the calendar at large, mate, and what else you're going to have a dabble in throughout the course of this season, please?
Yeah, the calendar I like. It's a bit different. Obviously we've got Bathurst in there in the middle somewhere. I think that's an enduro one as well, and we might have Daytona at the end, I think. So yeah, I'm overall happy with the calendar. In terms of what I'm racing, pretty similar to last one. Probably going to stick to trying to just commit to the GT3s. GT3s are my main sort of car. We've got a lot of things going on within the Vermilion team, obviously with Logi coming up and prepping and sorting everyone out for that, and then GT Pro as well coming up. So yeah, we're going to be sticking to the GT3s. I'm not too quick in a supercar.
Indeed. The 2 CPS with the lesser known spelling of the number 2 was great. Adds a lot of strategy. There we go. Thank you, Sean. Right on cue. Corrected yourself. Appreciate it. Now on that subject, I'll get the thoughts of everybody else on that in just a moment. But Louis, to finish off with you, mate, your thoughts on considering what we've just spoken about, your thoughts on the rest of the calendar as far as GT3 is concerned, and specifically how you're feeling about Suzuka next week.
Yeah, Suzuka's it's a fun track. So it's a hard track, it's a technical track, but it is a fun one once you get it hooked together. A lot of time to be found through it. So like you can be a second off the pace and you can be like, how the hell do I find that? But then yeah, look at some dilemma, look at data. But overall, Suzuka I'm looking forward to. Yeah, the rest of the calendar I'm looking forward to. Mainly looking forward to some of the bigger ones like Bathurst, and even though I've just driven 24 hours of Daytona, I'm really looking forward to that as well.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. And how was the off season? Can you believe that 6 weeks, 7 weeks has been gone, come and went that quickly?
I know, yeah, it actually flew by. I kept saying to Sam, I think it was earlier this month, I was like, oh, when's Gent starting back up? And then he said the date that it was starting back up, and I was like, oh, yeah, got a bit of time. And then I think I saw in the group chat today that it started tonight, and I was like, oh, okay, it's here.
Don't worry, mate. I made the trek back up to the sleepy state, the opposite side of Progressive Civilization's border, about 10 days ago. And it feels as though I needed to actually come back a little bit sooner than that, because I thought I was buying myself enough time to dot the I's, cross the T's, make sure everything was in place, ready to rock and roll. And yeah, again, still today felt like it came around all too quickly. Maybe it's the overload of tennis and cricket that I've been enjoying or immersing myself in the last 10 days. Go well, mate. Thank you for that. Well done. Look forward to seeing you in the grid as the season goes on.
Cheers. Thank you very much, guys.
Kurt Normanton, to you, thanks for hanging in there and being patient with us, mates. We'll have a look at the results from AM before I get to you if we can, because I know Adam Lavis has been holding on to those for me for a little bit. Ben Goring on top there ahead of Greg Colgan, Todd Suter, Janash Ragwani and Little Bondi, who we heard from a short while ago. Big margins there, 3 seconds, 3.5 in fact, between first and second, and then 25 seconds then back to Todd Suter, who was the last car on the podium. Andrew Bailey there in 7th place behind Barry Punter, and the head of Mitchell Buckman, Nigel Patton and Tim Watson making up the top 10. That moment there I didn't get the chance to ask Louis about, but it was the defining moment that allowed Dane Snadden the chance that he capitalised on and pounced on to make his way through. Let's hear from Kurt now from the Pro-Am split. Apart from hectic, because the amount of cars on the circuit and the volume of traffic you had to contend with, how was that hour for you?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I didn't do enough laps during the week because of Daytona, so yeah, I lacked a little bit of pace and a little bit of knowledge of the track limits, so gave myself a drive through. But other than that, I had a really good time. Strategy was fun with the compulsory pit stop, actually spicing things up, so I had a good time actually.
Now talk me through your thoughts, because we're talking about car selection. I asked you about this before GT4 finished and GT3 started. Were you happy with your choice?
Yeah, I was. again, a little bit of lack of knowledge about tyre wear and the different things with the car, so I didn't know exactly what I was taking in the pit stop. I knew my fuel usage roughly, but yeah, didn't know about the tyre wear well enough, so still happy with it, and hopefully next week at Suzuka it goes a bit better.
And just on that, the dawn of a new season of sprint racing awaits next Monday night, and Suzuka will be an interesting circuit for that concept.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely going to have to spend a lot of time doing the officials this week to make sure that I'm ready for it this week rather than the struggle I had from tonight.
Compulsory pit stops, fan or not?
I'm a fan, because I was talking with Isaac and Jake, and yeah, they were doing alternate strategies, and we both sort of ended up roughly about the same timing through the pits, and I made some ground in my first stop, lost a little bit in the second stop, so I'm a big fan.
All right, very nicely done. And obviously a bit of time to kill before we're next on circuit. But what are you most excited about the rest of this week? And is there any particular category that you're looking forward to more than the other as far as the whole season's concerned? Because I know you're dabbling in a few.
Yeah, I think it'll be the GTP. I need to spend more time doing that, so I'm really looking forward to that. And yeah, have to see how I go with time, because I've also got 2 nights at SRW this season instead of just the one. So I'll be a busy boy.
Jake Slade. Oh no. Jake Slade's now throwing some friendly fire on what is already a well-lit flame there between Ben Woods and Jerez Tackley. I apologise, Kurt. I am listening to you, but I'm also distracted by them going out at Hammer and Tong. You can
first
tell
night,
they're back
Zach.
in...
First
Oh,
night.
no, first night. This
Let's
is
it off.
run beautifully for the rest of the season, doesn't it? It's good to be back, ladies and gentlemen. I've missed this. Kurt, go well for the rest of the week, mate. We'll leave you go and look forward to chatting to you then.
Yeah, too easy. Catch you later.
Chapo, considering the other two blokes who've got themselves on mute at the moment, this is your opportunity to jump in, because I know of all the mainstays, the regulars, when that rule was released, you were less than impressed. But talk me through your first night contending with the CPS rule, because to be fair, you crossed the line inside the top 10 in both.
Yeah, I did. And still able to do the sort of save and get ahead in GT4s, which was really good. But yeah, that was, bloody hell, that was a cracking battle at the end of that race. It's a pity that it ended sort of in third place, but yeah, that was an absolute ripper. I knew that I had to save a little bit, and I thought I could just sort of block it off around Winton, but yeah, so he sort of went for the dive, and it was almost on, sort of on, but then with the car on the outside, it just sort of didn't come through, and yeah, Aiden went through, so congrats to Aiden, teammate, coming in, I think, pretty much a debut and getting the victory, so massive congrats to him, and yeah, what a great battle with Sammy in that final lap. So yeah, GT4s was able to contend with it. I will say that
Just
the Euro stop was on, Zach.
I knew that would be the case, and Adam Lavis verified it because it is Winton.
Yes.
The Nation's Goat track. I mean, the Nation's Clothesline, sorry. And there is a possibility to lift and coast around there. But I do need to ask you, because we have not had any correspondence with race control since the checkered flag wave, but we looked at that last lap and we thought, hang on, everything here is provisional because there were 6 of you going out at Hammer and Tong. What have you heard from the back end of that race as far as adjudications and penalties might be concerned? Yeah,
I've been able to look. I think, my sort of looking at it, it was, Sam redressed the position to me after going up on the inside there. And, that was probably about a 50-50 as to whether or not he was enough alongside to sort of make that move, or whether I was getting turned over. And then obviously that move was a lap or two before when there's the fella that tried to go around the outside and just wasn't quite clear there and sort of went to chop it off. And once again, I didn't actually have a look back at that one, but I think that's almost a 50-50 really, trying to sort of go around the outside there because I was still at the apex. So I'd say it's provisional, but I think I'll probably be surprised if a penalty. And I think, you know, it sort of panned out the way it was supposed to in the end. And I mean, like, obviously then Sam got the position back off me anyway when I wonder whether I had some damage or maybe I just wobbled off that next turn, and then we were side by side for most of the rest of the lap. And by that point, I was so deep in the battle that I forgot I actually didn't have enough fuel if I was going to be doing that, and coughed over the line. So, yeah, I guess we'll see. I've not looked at the race control situation, but I don't think there was anything to throw, at least in that top 3 perspective.
Copy. What are your thoughts on the rest of the campaign there, and the fact that, I mean, one other significant change with regards to that schedule, mate, as you know well, is that it's only 1 race a week now in GT4. We did have some sprint racing in which you were the master of last term. You don't have that luxury to work with this term, so there are a few different elements and components that you've got to get your head around here. How are you feeling about that and the calendar?
Yeah, and I think, I mean, good and bad, right? Like, tonight, I didn't qualify all that well. I qualified in 6th place, but was still able to get to the front. So, I think it does come back to that race pace and race management. Like, that still plays a big part in these sort of races, but you do have to be careful not to qualify too far down the order, and that's usually, my Achilles heel is I'm sort of jumping and I'm not putting, I guess as much time into a quick lap. So, yeah, like I don't mind it. I remember when we used to do it on Mondays this way, and I quite liked it. And there's a bit of consistency there. It does also mean there is always a pit stop, so there is always that sort of strategy aspect as a part of it. So yeah, I don't mind it. The other thing is though, because it gets limited to a 1 hour slot, there's not as much time in the practice server. There's only 20 minutes in the practice server, versus you used to get sort of an hour. So, you're all sort of split up beforehand, and, some will be doing a few laps before that 20 minutes, but, others might just be jumping in that, and that sort of switches it up as well. But, yeah, it was a great field tonight.
Terrific.
And wow, obviously within both series, as we often see in the first round, but, it's not often you see a field like that around Winton. So,
correct.
Credit where it's due on that one, and yeah, I think it's good to have the GT4s back in that time slot.
Agreed. And it means that Monday night is GT3 night. So GT night rather. So if you like your GT racing, Monday night is the place to come and hang out in. Now, on the subject, it's amazing how you and Sam Muir still end up somewhat glued together. So the more things change, the more they stay the same, mate. But let's talk about GT3 now, because I mean, aside from the fact that it is pushing 10:30, in fact, it's just gone 10:30 in progressive and civilised parts of the country. And it's just on dinner time over there in WA, and I need to go around the grounds and have a look at some cricket scores and other things in a moment. We need to hear from the Whiskey Business Boys too. But before that, let's talk to you about GT3, because like Tyson, you started outside the top 10. You guys worked your way in. Louis and Richard remained where they started. Dane moved up 4 spots, but you two big movers from a somewhat lucky 13 in this instance up into 6th. Talk us through the night and your impressions of the new car.
Yeah, I don't mind the new car. Good traction. It's not. It's not bad. It's not as much as I used to like the McLaren when that was new. That I just found I used to dance around, and this does have a bit of a different feel to it, but it feels alright, and I was sort of meant to drive it. I hadn't decided on the car until today, and started just asking the boys around like what is the BOP in GT3 at the moment. But yeah, it does sort of seem like the Acura is good, but yeah, it looks like the Ford's really competitive too, which is interesting. So that probably wasn't one that we saw on the cards to be such a big player up front. So car's pretty good. Does largely what I want it to do, and probably behaves in a way that suits my driving style. And then yeah, from a race perspective, it was. I think I gained a couple of spots at the start with a little bit, more aggressive moves, and then just sort of sat there for a bit, slightly underfueled that first stop, and you know, I underfueled maybe a bit too much second stop, and I was sitting in 5th, and actually what happened to me in the Daytona 24 on the weekends, happened to me on the final corner of the final lap in the...
Oh dear.
I've been getting these screen tears that also, they impact the wheel in that as well. And it happened to me in the bus stop at the Daytona 24 after the teammates had done a brilliant job to get from about 20th to 7th place, and binned that, so that was good. And it happened to be in the final quarter today, so got to work out what's going on there, because it's not a particularly good feature.
Not at all.
No. But otherwise, decent race. I found a lot of pace sort of about halfway through the race and got into a bit of a rhythm, but by the end of it, I was getting tired and emotional, and probably started losing a bit.
I can relate to that. Not the tired and emotional part, just the losing it a bit, because some would argue that I've been losing it for quite a while. Hey, now, last time we caught up with you, you were in the middle of moving to the city of Churches. How's all that going for you?
Yeah, good mate, good. We're all moved in. I've got the new rig, got a racecraft rig now, so I'm running out of excuses for being crap, Zach. I can't use the rig anymore. I've got good internet. I've got a decent computer. It's not a laptop, so like I'm really running out of excuses now. I could still blame this screen tear for whatever reason. So once that goes away, my racing drive excuse are out the window. But all moved in. It's all lovely. City of Churches is brilliant.
Yeah,
absolutely. Happy to be back.
Would be a little bit warmer at this time of the year as well, because if my sources are correct, the Antarctic chill factor that normally resides there is actually in Melbourne at the moment, but that's another story. Hey, what else is going to keep you busy this season, please?
Mate, what isn't going to keep me busy? I haven't worked out whether I'm racing tomorrow or not. I'm trying to work out when I'm going to have a night off, really.
Good luck with that.
I mean, it's my classic complaint, really, of, each series I want to do, but, I don't really have time to do it at the moment, with work and all that sort of thing. So we'll see. We'll see about tomorrow. I'm running the BMW series, so jump in, everyone, for the M2 series starting tomorrow. I'm about to set up the service, so get excited. We might jump into some of those. I'll probably run the trucks this season. So I've put my name in for Logitech pre-quali, but I've got to say I see it as unlikely that I'm going to get the time to put a lap together in each of those tracks to get myself in the top 45. So. We'll see if we can, but unlikely. And as Lewis was saying, the GT Pro Series is going to be where we're teamed up for that. So we'll be qualifying for that whenever that comes to pass. And I've got the NASCAR E Series as well. So but then what have we got Thursdays as well? So
too much sport is never enough.
All right, how much can I list right now, right? But Thursdays, I'll probably run one of those series. I don't know which one. What do you think, Zach? Should I run Porsches? I'm going to run both. Let's be honest.
Let's be honest. You're an Australian open wheel national champion, so you have to turn up for Super Formula Light, and you go all right in the Porsches as well. So I reckon you do the double.
Yeah, right. Copy. All right. I'll see you out there.
Good boy, excellent. We've just removed a little bit more free time from your schedule for the next 10 weeks. I like it. The only difference is we have a little bit of a change in the broadcast setup. You're not in the booth on Wednesday night. It's Daniel Correa deputising for you for the next short while, I do believe.
So I wouldn't say deputising as though he's a deputy. He would be more my senior, I would say.
True.
It's good that he was able to do it this season. I was on the fence about whether or not, but I just really didn't want to commit to that time at this point, with a number of other things going on for me at the moment, and being back in the City of Churches and a few other things on that front. So, thanks to Daniel for jumping in on that, and it's going to be a massive season on Wednesday, so I might even jump in for a co-commentary every now and then, because I can imagine with those NAS trucks and then with the Gen 3s, it's going to be a massive night.
Indeed. All right then, very nicely done. Hey, well done again tonight. Looking forward to seeing the action that you bring to the table on a Monday night throughout the course of the campaign. Good luck with the NASCARs. Good luck with the GT Pro qualification as well. And obviously, we look forward to seeing you on Thursday night too, mate. Go well.
Thank you, mate. Have a good one.
There he is, Sam Chapman. Right, the Whiskey Business post-race report. It is at long last making its debut for 2025, ladies and gentlemen. The great man Greg Heaney's here, and I've got to pick his brain about a couple of things from an admin standpoint in a moment, and also Dane Snadden. Dano, what a great way to start the season for you. Well done.
If he's set up his push to talk.
Here I am. I've just pumped his tyres up. I've introduced him beautifully, and he's left me hanging. Hello, Greg, by the way. Nice to...
How you going?
Oh, mate, I'm pumped up, firing at all cylinders. It's been a great start of the year. But to be fair, as great as a result as that is, we'll talk to you whilst we wait for Dane to get the old SH1T together. In fact, I just saw a little bit of a light blip there from him, so I think we might have him. Hello, Dane. No.
Hello.
Oh, there he is.
Go.
There we go.
Oh, the goddamn control button wasn't working on the keyboard.
First night blues. Have a look at this. Now, it's all about, getting rid of the cobwebs and the gremlins at this time of the day. Mate, well done. Great performance, great start. Talk me through that night, because you started 5th, so you had pace from the outset, and then you were able to go on with it. Obviously, Woodsy's demise helped a little bit, but you had to work hard, especially with the likes of Mitchum and Greathead and Broad around. But unfortunately, by the time you got any sort of clear air, Denchi was well and truly gone.
Yeah, no, she was good first race for the season, Zach. Put a qualifying in, which normally I don't do, so that made racing a lot easier tonight. Didn't have to fight through the field, so the Whiskey Business Porsche was pretty quick, which was good. I know, a couple of mistakes from guys up front, which gave me a few more spots, and a bit of excitement halfway through there, and the compulsory pit stops as well. I enjoyed that. Good first race back.
Indeed it was, and a good launch pad for the season, mates. This is no doubt a confidence-boosting performance to be able to, put the full 60 minutes together, and then hopefully use that momentum and confidence taken away from this and build on that for the next 9 weeks.
Yeah, especially in a Porsche doing Porsche things. Great
Exactly.
to keep it on the black stuff there. 99% of the race there, which was good. Look, we did a week of online, and I didn't really feel I had the pace against all the other aliens out there, so I was pretty surprised with practice times and also qualifying times, and just sort of, as I said to the boys in the team chat, just do what you can do. Don't try and push too hard, and finish the race.
Indeed, and on that subject, mate, I mean, the Whiskey Business Stable's still well represented again. You at the forefront of all of that. What twisted your arm to commit to the Porsche for this season as opposed to the other manufacturers around you, because you were surrounded by Mustangs and Acuras all night long?
Mustang last season didn't gel with it, so we gave that one the boot. Was looking at possibly running the Merc. That was a pretty high contender on my list this season. NSX was also in there. I found that had, for my driving style, a bit of mid-corner understeer, which I just couldn't dial out of it. Jumped in the Porsche, and hey presto.
Indeed. The Jerez circuit, is it one that you were fond of before tonight?
Oh, I can bite you real quick. Especially some of those fast sweeping corners. They just they rear their ugly head at you, Zach. So thoroughly enjoyed tonight. Obviously keeping it pointed in the right direction, you always enjoy the race a little bit more, but enjoy Jerez as a track. Love watching the GPs and superbikes on here as well, so always makes it a little bit more special when you get to drive on these sort of tracks.
Indeed it does. On that subject, let me ask you on your thoughts of the GT3 calendar at large, mate. There's some good tracks on the horizon here. We've got Daytona, Sebring towards the end. We've got Mount Panorama in there right in the middle as well, and some interesting choices for the sprint component as well.
Yeah, I'm a lover of everything, Zach. So there's not really any tracks out there that I don't disagree with, but it's just what happens on the night, really, with me sometimes. So hopefully I can keep this form for the Whiskey Business stable, and hopefully get a few more other guys. Like Jackson jumped in pretty late. I don't think he had much time practicing after D24, and hopefully Aiden can also jump in. There's a couple of quick guys there. John can put a bit of time in and pick up a bit of pace. So yeah, be good.
I think I also might have stumbled upon the Achilles heel for Jacko this afternoon after doing the Daytona 24 3 hours ago. He was out taking a photo of his freshly mowed lawn, so I think he might have been trying to juggle a little bit too much this afternoon. The mowing might have got the better of him, and then I think he's had a packet loss issue as well, just on top of things. So disappointment for Jacko there. But with regards to you, Dame, what else are we going to see you behind the wheel of this term, please?
I'm going to scale it back a bit from what I did last season. So we'll do the obviously GT3, NAS trucks, and Porsche Cup. Might have a bit of a dab in the Friday night guys, but yeah, I just think those three, they're my bread and butter, Zach. So we'll just stick with those guys, I think, this season.
Good boy. Hey, I'm going to quickly and very rudely interrupt the conversation here just to let everybody know that Alex de Minaur has gone through in straight sets to the Australian Open quarter final. He will take on last year's champion Yannick Sinner Wednesday night prime time on Rod Laver Arena. You do not want to miss that. It'll be live and free on Nine's Wide World of Sports from 7 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. So if anyone's looking for me on Wednesday night, yes, there'll be a monitor set up left of screen to have a quick look at what you guys are doing here on the platforms of the GSRC with Liam Banks and Daniel Correa taking you through that. But I will be watching the tennis and looking forward to it immensely. Well done to the Demon. He's having a terrific run so far. Dano, thank you. You might want to stick around, though, because I'm going to bring your boss in here to have a chat. Well done tonight. Great result. Second and the first of the Porsches home. And, of course, we know that Porsche have been a very strong performer in GT3, both 4 and 3 for quite some time, mate. Go well.
Zach, good work, mate.
Greg Heaney, Happy New Year. Nice to have you on board for the first time in 25. There's a lot to discuss with you, and I'm not sure how much time we've got to do it, actually, quite frankly. We're already over time, usually, by night run standard, Greg.
I'm going to be here all week, so feel free to spread it out if you want.
Well, that's the... Yeah, well, I was going to say, I hope you're here all week. I hope you're here all 10 weeks, quite frankly. But, let's just get rid of the housekeeping first, because there's a couple of things that are quite prevalent here, and the first one is that there were talks of a merger 5-6 weeks ago when we were last on air. Where's that at, please?
Unfortunately didn't go through, so talks were happening, then there was talks on the other side of the state, on the other side of the fence, and some of the guys over there didn't really want to do it, so Braden and his guys are still running under their own banner, Frogleap. So but I mean, we'd take it as teams and say, yeah, okay, we posed it to the teams to say, hey, would you guys want to merge over if things want to go that way, and if not, so be it. Then game on, we'll just run as our own teams. So there was a little bit of a talk that we may have some trading of drivers for enduros if we're a little bit short on crew at that point in time, for whatever the case may be. But look, it didn't go through, but we'll move on and game on from here.
Indeed, righto. How impressed are you by Dane's performance this evening, and talk me through how the rest of the stable fared across the 3 splits too, please?
Well done to Dane, very much well done for that. Unfortunately, as you mentioned, Jackson was out mowing his lawn about 3 hours ago. He mentioned in our team chat that he had a lock up and a PC freeze up or whatever it may have been, and that's hence why he ended up getting dropped off. He was probably estimating he would have been somewhere inside the top 15 by the end of it if he'd kept his pace up. We had 5 of us in Pro-Am. Unfortunately, Lockie didn't end up finishing. The rest of us did. I was 26th, I think, finished 16th, so happy with my own performance tonight. Well done to Sean, and who else was in there? Sean was in there, he finished inside the top 10. Matt Schmidtke had a little bit of an oops in front of me, so he ended up dropping a couple of spots there. Otherwise, he would have finished inside the 15. And then obviously with the guys in the AM split as well, Janesh started second, apparently pushed a little bit too hard, too fast, and burnt the tyres off, and ended up finishing 4th. And then obviously we got Tim, who rounded out the 10 in the AM split. So we actually had a pretty good showing across all 3 servers tonight. So very happy with that. And it was well done to all the guys that did finish, and unlucky for the guys that didn't. But it's only week 1, and blow the cobwebs out and come back next week.
I also want to get some clarification from you with regards to the rest of the stable, mate. The conversation that might have been had, the thought process behind the different cars that they've chosen for this season, because unlike last term where we had the McLaren Cup with a few ring-ins and a few gate crashes, it looks to be a little bit more of an even spread.
I don't really have a say in what cars the guys drive. It's just drive whatever you feel comfortable. And I was still tossing up between if I went with the Mercedes, which I have tonight, or if I went with the Audi, because I was still tossing that up at lunchtime today whilst I was still at work and still undecided. And then I came home, I'm like, bugger it, I'm going in the Mercedes, and be done with it.
So you don't have much say in the cars the guys drive, so we're going to see some Fords in the supercars?
Well, I did succumb to letting the guys, have the guys drive the supercar with the Mustang. I did do a livery for it. It still doesn't mean that I bought it, so I certainly didn't buy it. I know there is a couple of guys that wanted to drive it. I think Tim was one of them, and I'm not sure who else there was that wanted to drive it. So I did do a livery for it. If it gets used, I would prefer it if we did run it as just the Chevy, but you might see a Mustang or 2 wearing our colours.
All right, very nicely done. Now, from your own personal standpoint, what are you most looking forward to with regards to this GT3 calendar, and what you might be able to achieve within it?
Well, I'm glad to see the back of Jerez, because
yes.
I really don't agree with this track terribly well. No, look, I'm looking forward to the whole calendar, to be honest. Daytona, yes and no. That'll be a touch-and-go track for me. I'm not a huge fan of the road course at Daytona, so we'll see how we go. Always looking forward to Bathurst. And for the rest of the season, looking forward to... Well, tomorrow night we'll give the Lotus 79 a go and see how we go. That'll tell me if I'm going to do the rest of the season of that one or not. Obviously, then we got the V8s on Wednesday, Porsche Cup on Thursday, which I'm kind of now obligated to show up for, being we're now sponsoring the Porsche Cup with the Bowens.
Yes. Continue on.
So yeah, Bowens now sponsoring the Porsche Cup. I already got a little bit of a sneak preview of what it's going to look like, and it looks pretty good. And there's actually going to be more than black and silver or white on Joe's car.
And there's actually going to be a bit of blue and yellow and blue on the graphics, which I'm quite happy about as well. We've got some championship points to get through in just a moment, but before we get to that, I want to finish with Greg here, because if I have a look through my extensive calendar of events here as sent through to me by Adam Lavis at the start of each term, it has your name right next to the Gen 3 Supercars as series organizer / contact. Greg, what a seriously steep responsibility that's going to be, given the amount of interest in that series already.
Yeah, I know. At this point in time, there's every chance we may end up having a second development server run on Wednesday, but we will have to find out, and it could well be a very last-minute thing. So, yeah, we were looking at doing it as a home and away season, so Australian tracks and then overseas tracks. It would have been all the Aussie tracks we have on the server minus Winton, because who wants to drive a supercar around Winton?
Correct. Not even the real world supercars want to drive around Winton.
No, exactly. So, but then we got the word up that obviously Trophy AI have come on board to sponsor said series. So, try and stick as close to the official supercar series run by iRacing on the service as we can, and we will. Yeah, so there's a small variance in there. We're doing a variance with Motegi in there. We're doing Motegi East, and that's going to be similar to an SMP weekend. So there is going to be under lights racing there for one of the races. So that'll be interesting.
Lovely.
And then yeah, with you'll love the first round and love the second round for sure. There is going to be a little bit of moisture around in a few of the rounds, and have advised the guys to check the guides on their forecast when it gets closer to the race weekend. But yeah, no, with any luck, it's a good season, and hopefully I don't throw too many cats amongst the pigeons.
All right, and of course next week, Suzuka for GT3. What are your immediate thoughts on that?
I honestly think it'll suit the Merc pretty well, a lot better than Jerez does.
All right, excellent. I don't think there's anything else actually that we have to cover off. I did notice a couple of missing names from the WBR stable, mate, but hopefully they're back on deck as the season unfolds. Did you have anyone running in the 24 over the weekend?
Yeah, we not with our team. We did have a couple of drivers step in with a couple of other teams. Jackson Dial was running with AWR. He threw his hat in the ring over there. We had Dale Atkins running with Craig Bond and his boys. Mm-hmm. Apparently they had somebody, they were running in LMP2. They had a guy that was running in that race against them that was apparently trying to kill them at every opportune moment. Somehow they managed to get away with it. I believe they finished second in class for their race, so well done to them. And then we had a couple of other guys in a couple of other different teams chipping in for some spots as well. So, but you know, I reckon we're going to have a fair few cars for the Bathurst 12, both for at least attempting for OSR. I know Aiden and Jackson are keen as mustard to get on the track for that one. And then obviously the official Bathurst 12 as well. So yeah, we're going to hopefully have a few cars on grid for that.
Indeed, and of course, you mentioned Bondi. Two Barneys for the price of one. You mentioned Bondi's squad. They needed a bit of help over the course of the weekend as well, because Bondi was on double duty. He was racing go-karts in Victoria and then had to get home to Gundagai in order to get on the service. So he was a busy boy over the course of the weekend, but they're young. They can go all day. They're fine. Hey, well done, mate. I think we'll leave it there for night one. Good to see that you're going to be on board with the supercars. Obviously, everybody else will be advised when there's more details sort of confirmed as to whether there will be a second supercar server or not. And of course, that will take us back in the direction of what we used to have going back a few seasons. And of course, in the similar vein as what we have now with GT3 having 3 servers, supercars will have 2. So that would give you a supercars and Super 2, wouldn't you?
Well, just to clarify, we do actually have 2 servers for the supercars.
Oh, okay.
So we've got the it's similar to Porsche Cup. So we've got the elite split, and then we've got the development split. So because of the numbers we're expecting, there are 2 servers already. There is every chance we may have to put in a last-minute 3rd server, depending on how many numbers we get.
Okay. Oh boy.
And if it's anything like what we had tonight, there's every chance we're going to need it.
Yes, correct. Numbers are extraordinary to start the season. A lot of new members coming on board too, mate.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And it's always good to see. I mean, the more guys on track, the the more newer names you have to race against, and so on and so forth. So there's always somebody different to run against. So.
Indeed. All right, mate. We'll leave it there. Thank you as always. Well done.
No worries, and thank you very much.
There he is, Greg Heaney. By gee, it's been a big night. Our first one of the new term, ladies and gentlemen, and there's plenty more where that came from for the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. But before we go, let's just have a quick look at championship points, if we may. This will just confirm essentially the only variance in the point standings here, ladies and gentlemen, will be applied with regards to bonuses and any penalties that have come in. But everything as it stands there on your screen is what we're looking at there. Adam Lavis might be able to explain the red boxes to you. I've got a feeling that I think I know what he's about to tell me, but I want you to confirm for me, mate, that we could have a bigger field next week. We could have a bigger grid by the look of that.
Yeah, there's about a dozen or 15 people in the AM split that were either new or in one case in the wrong split server, and only 2 of those are actually staying in Pro Am. So there's a big chunk going up to Pro and a big chunk going down to Am to even the numbers back out again. So the guys there in red are the guys who raced tonight in the Pro Am who have been who should have been either should have been in Pro or are now in Pro. So they've been bumped up.
All right, copy that. So there you go. As a result of, and how hard has Adam Lavis been working and crunching the numbers behind the scenes whilst we've been ripping through the post-race show here, folks. Have a look at that. So as a result of that, red boxes are guys that have been promoted straight away into the Pro Split for next week. But the top 10 there on your screen is exactly as they come across the line tonight in GT3 Pro for waste options. Matty Dench, Dane Snadden, Louis Greathead, Richard Mitchum, Tyson Broad, Sam Chapman. And then, of course, you go back to Nick Wood, Sean McLaughlin, Andrew Dutch, and Simon Mesamos. So very nicely done there. Denchy again, the Dench mark. What a surprise on a Monday night. So going out of pursuit of title number 13, it's off to a winning start. Pro-Am, as the result of the modifications that have been made, that will look a little bit different with
haven't finished yet.
Well, that's not finished.
Well, because I've got to go through now because I'm just in the middle. So the guys going to Pro and the guys going to AM, they get removed, so then I got to rejiggle the positions because they don't count basically they've effectively made that split a multi-class server, so only the Pro Am class get positions for tonight.
Copy. And as a result, there's no point in running through. Oh, there is is point in running through AM, is there?
Well, this is AM. East is AM minus the people who are coming back. So I haven't got the people. I haven't put the people across yet who have. That's where I'm up to. My next step is to copy and paste the people from AM across.
Very good. All right. So provisionally, that's how AM looks at the moment after night 1 of term 1 of 2025. Ben Goring on top, 62. Greg Colgan, 55. Todd Suter, 49, 45 for Janice Rd-1 and Craig Bondon, 42 points. We do this each Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday with thanks to the great people at Sprite and Cider, Waste Options, and also, of course, Trophy.ai. Great people at Orbic Australia. Bowens, the Builder's Choice, JKZ Constructions, merch.tgsrci.com, and Flash Graphics as well. Well, let's have a look at what's coming away on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. It's nice to get the wheels turning in anger once more and back in motion and firing on all cylinders and all that jazz, all that motorsport lingo and terminology that we throw at you. Good to be back in the chair and good to have normal programming up and away once more. The new year, the new term here, and it's delivered in spades on the opening night. The rest of the opening week looks like this. M Sport W Cup tomorrow night, Circuit de Navarra, so we stay in Spain on the speed layout there. 2 sprint races, 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, remember that, for the next 11 weeks in fact, the 10 of our season and the first of the Easter break as well. Alton Park International with no chicanes first up, and a super sprint race format for the GSRC Formula 1 Retro Championship. And you might appreciate the attention to detail that Adam Lavis has paid with the logo there as well, ladies and gentlemen. Those of you that remember the golden years of Formula 1 in the 90s will look back on that very fondly. And of course, that is coming away from 9:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Wednesday night, these are broadcast races. Daniel Correa-Sar and Liam Banks with you. Atlanta Motor Speedway first up, 65 laps for the Orbic Australia Truck Series from 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time, followed by at 9 p.m. a 40-minute trek around the gateway to hypothermia for the first round of the Supercar Series, with thanks to Trophy.ai.
So
the elite splits on broadcast this week.
Yeah. With the Super Formula Lights, at some point I've accidentally deleted the details thingy. But the Watkins Glen boot for a 40-minute race.
Correct. And there are a couple of sprint rounds as part of that this term. We'll talk you through that on Thursday night, of course, but that is the task at hand on Thursday night. Watkins Glen boot from 7:40 Eastern Daylight Time, then on to Road America. Road America, yes, how good's that? First up for the Porsches, Road America. That will be a beauty. Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Join Daniel Correa-Sar and I for that one. Friday night, Joe Baldwin, Nick Fodiatis and I here with you for the debut of the Le Mans Hypercar Series from the Daytona International Speedway. Of course, we've seen the Hypercars on GSRC platforms in previous times. In the most recent guys, it was as part of the Endurance Championship. That's no more. So it now makes its debut in prime time, the Le Mans Hypercar, from the home of the Rolex 24, the Daytona International Speedway Road Course. Friday night, 65 minutes, 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Mountain Men, Lotus 49, Saturday night, also 8:30 Eastern. That's changed. All right, copy that. You change that for me, and I'll tell everybody what it's changing to. Bathurst Mountain Men.
It hasn't changed, sorry. Sorry, I got confused because we started the Mountain Men last day. So
correct.
We were in the Beamers now. Yeah, the Lotus 49 is this week.
Correct. Lotus 49, Mount Panorama, 32 laps. We're good. Yep. On Saturday night, 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time, the second outing of the Mountain Men for this season. And then, of course, next Monday night, week 2 gets underway with GT4 and GT3 from Okayama first up for the GT4. How good is the yellow look on that category logo, by the way? Fantastic. Great attention to detail for Adam Lavis. Now, remember, that's the Australia Day public holiday, a long weekend Monday for you, ladies and gentlemen. So we will have a few guys maybe missing in action because they're still getting home from a long weekend and holidays and family and all that sort of stuff. But if the numbers to go by tonight are anything to go by, we will be here in spades. Okayama first up for GT4 with thanks to Waste Options from 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time, a 30-minute affair there. On then to Suzuka, an Oriental double next Monday night, Japanese style for you. Suzuka International Racing Course, 2 sprint races, 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time. And for the first time this season, we leave the Pro Split in the rearview mirror. We turn our attention to the AM Split and the Pro-Am Split. We'll bring you the, I believe, AM Split race first and Pro-Am second, as per usual.
Correct.
Yep, so AM Split first, Pro-Am second, and that is from Suzuka from 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time. That's it from us. We're done. Great to have Monday Night Motorsport back up and away for the first time in 2025. It was fiery. There's no doubt about that. There were some contentious moments. There was some cracking racing. There's been a few barbs exchanged in the post-race show as well in the comments section. So, yes, it sets the tone and the precedent and the standard for what's ahead for the next 9 weeks and also what's left of this opening week of the new term. School is back. We're pumped. We're excited. We hope you are as well. Just recapping, Alex de Minaur through to the quarterfinals at the Australian Open in Melbourne. The Australians have retained the Ashes with a win over England at the Sydney Cricket Ground tonight. They bowled the Poms out for 141 to win by 57 runs. The Australians have retained the Ashes with 2 T20s in that test match still to come. They're on track for an Ashes whitewash, and they continue their dominance in the women's game just the way they've done in the men's when it comes to the battle with the old enemy. So it's been a very good night for the Australians. It's been a very good night for us as well. And we hope that you've enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. On behalf of Adam Lavis and all the crew here, I'm Zach Cavan bidding you a very good night. Look forward to your company as week 1 continues on Thursday. And don't forget Daniel Correa-Sar and Liam Banks here with you on Wednesday night for the trucks and supercars double. Until then, have a great evening, everybody. Bye for now.